Yeah. Okay, it's time to, delve in to the unspoken and the also, I guess, unknown or mysterious, whatever y'all want to say. Yes, it's Black Files again. We are black, everybody. We are back and we are black and we are back. Back in black. You feel what I'm saying? So, yes, it's Black Files episode 16. Man, we in season 2. You know what I mean? What y'all gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And we are here. And, as always, we're gonna cover something that is controversial, yet, needs to be talked about. And it's very informative. Salute to the homie Smitty's Corner. Thanks for tuning in, brother. You know what I mean? I'm glad you pulled up. Lola's giving you a wave. And, so listen, y'all, a lot of times there's things going on that we are questioning, or things that we need answers to, or things that we're not informed of. So, I believe that when these things are happening and occurring, the best thing to do is to gather all the facts that you can. Gather all the factual evidence that you can, all the factual sources, and then from there you may be able to come up with a theory or an hypothesis of what is actually happening. Now, with that doesn't mean that you're going to be actually correct, okay? You may still be missing some information. I think in that instance, you have to leave the space to know that you may be wrong, right? And I think that's a big part of it. So when you are doing your research, salute to Christopher J. Good to see you, brother. Everybody make sure that y'all like and subscribe to Christopher J. His channel. Also to Smitty's Corner and his channel as well. Show these brothers some love. All right. So when you are delving into the mysterious and unknown, make sure you do all your research. That could be about religion, politics, social issues, conspiracy theories. And also what we're going to cover today, extraterrestrial life. Okay. Could be the Anunnakis, it could be whatever. Make sure you do your research. Okay. Make sure you always do your research. So I'm gonna let Mr. Oshun kick it off. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Oshun, what you thinking? And let's get it.
So here's what I'm thinking. I do understand that our life is here on Earth, right? Like, our concern is making sure this planet, our lives, our people are taken care of, right? And so the idea of focusing on what's happening on other planets, out in space, seems like, it's entertainment, right? But when you look at it from a viewpoint of when entertainment becomes front and center, right? Meaning, let's suppose something comes from outer space and it comes into our airspace. And the next thing you know, there's a disease that we can't get rid of going around. Now, suddenly, this isn't entertainment anymore. Now, suddenly, you want your government to protect you and you want them to take this serious. But because you spent so much time not taking it serious, this is what's happening, right? So there's this quote unquote stigma around this topic. And you're going to hear a bunch of that type of rhetoric tonight in terms of what the government is quote unquote doing to destigmatize this issue of UFOs, starting with not calling it UFOs, calling it UAPs. UAP stands for unidentified aerial, or it might be aerial, but I think it's another word for it, phenomena, right? So why they don't want to call it unidentified flying objects, which is what we're talking about, versus phenomena, it, to me, and I'm just going to put this out there, this is the government stigmatizing even more what is already stigmatized, while telling you at the same time we're trying to destigmatize it. They're doing more damage while saying this is what we're doing to not damage. And I have a big problem with that, because there's more at stake than what we're giving credit for, because again, this is not a topic that most people care about, because it's not directly impacting their lives, so they believe. And Mr. Best, you know me and you done talked offline about some other topics that don't seem like it's in the way of this, but I have a small suspicion that there might be a connection, but we'll chop that up later. But I just want to say that tonight we'll be listening to the NASA conference on the study that the U.S. government or Congress gave to them last year, according to them, to study, UFOs or UAPs. And this year they're coming out with their findings, although they're saying they didn't find anything worth talking about. Yet they still have a concern about finding something. This is the trick bag. I'm not even going to hold you guys. And so it's important for us as a community to be involved in these conversations because, one, we get to know who's doing what in our government. We get to see where money is really going in our government. And we also get to see what the government takes serious and what they don't. Because right now, it's like we already have a history when it comes to our government and sharing of information. On this broadcast, we spoke about JFK and the real reason why he was assassinated in reference to NASA and the CIA sharing information and there being a reluctance to share information. And when he signed that law into law that they had to, then suddenly he goes away and that law is no longer a thing. And you're going to kind of hear that undertone tonight that the sharing of information hasn't really happened. Yet President Kennedy created a law for that to happen. But they're going to tell you today in this video that, hey, we just got wind of this. Meanwhile, I can show you guys back in 1960, 1955, 57, where the government was made aware of this and they purposely did nothing and told the public there was nothing to worry about because they did their research. Meanwhile, they're going to tell you tonight, now we're doing research. So while explaining that the government is something to be trusted on this topic, you can see for yourself, because I'm not going to, I don't want to guide anybody's, their thought process as far as like what they hear and what they interpret it as. I'm just going to give you my opinion and you guys can take, what you think for yourself. But the questions and the answers are there. I just think it's important to keep this conversation front and center because, listen, right now, the conversation is who reigns supreme on the Mars, on planet Mars and on the moon. Also, we've touched down on what planet is that? I forgot what planet we've touched down on. So now we have Reconnaissance mission on Mars and on another planet now. I forgot the name of them, but there's two planets now that, the U.S.
I think it may be, I don't know if it's Pluto, Uranus, or something like that, or Neptune, or Venus. It's one of them.
It's one of them, but now we're no longer just on Mars and the moon. We're on a third planet now. So my thing is, who's supposed to be in charge on these planets? Because you keep in mind the Asians and the Russians also have reconnaissance missions also that are trying to reach these destinations. And they also have space flight centers in space too. So it's like, well, who's supposed to be in charge now? Now this is a different conversation about, ownership, about protection, about, citizenship, like what's happening here. But we'll talk about it. But this is the reason why I say we have to stay abreast on these things, because while we're talking about what goes on in our communities, people are literally talking about building new communities on other planets. And so, yeah, I want to be a part of those conversations.
Well, see, from your initial point, the government whole job is not to, basically really protect you. It's just to kind of, maintain the status quo. It's to kind of maintain, people doing what they're doing, watching, YouTube and TV and playing PlayStation 5 and buying, iPhones and all this stuff. It's just to, make you, comfortable. You eating fast food, you drink a certain type of, you drink a certain type of beverages, whether it's alcoholic or whatever, and whether these things are healthy for you or not, or whether they're detrimental to your existence or not, people are doing these things based upon that fact that the government wants to create an environment where you're just comfortable, right? They want you to be comfortable. They kind of want to rock you to sleep, right? So as you rock, if they rock you to sleep consciously, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, now they can definitely hide some of the UAPs because you're distracted. You know what I mean? So yeah, of course, I may want to talk about UAPs, or I may want to talk about different things that's going on within the government or within society. But man, I'm too busy watching the game. I gotta go to AT&T. I gotta go buy an iPhone. I'm guilty of this stuff too. Don't get me wrong. I like to be entertained too. But I'm not sitting here on a soapbox that's not intellectual. Nah. But with that being said, even though I love to be entertained, I know there needs to be a balance. So, you know what I mean? Because they know that most people are unbalanced, they're not going to challenge the idea or the actual concept that it may be other life. Or that life may be threatening us with disease and other things as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but before I continue, let me take a course for the pause, right? Because people have checked in. Salute to Marcus. Marcus, what up, what up? Salute to Mr. Kareem Bliss Johnson. He said, at what point will we have any effect on our peoples since melanin and his beings are oppressed? Will E.T. and Bobby continue the way of white folks? Ooh, that's a good question. Damn. And we're going to get back to that question because I definitely want to answer it. And definitely make sure you subscribe, you know what I mean, to Mr. Kareem Bliss Johnson. You know what I mean? Show him some love. Also, you know what I mean? Christopher J is giving a shout out. I already gave him a shout out earlier. You know what I mean? My man DJ Witch Doctor pulled up. You know what I mean? Salute to him. Salute. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel as well. Our music curator, you know what I mean? Usually, Mr. Von Eric, what's going on? Vaughn, what up? You know what I mean? And like I always say, anybody can pull up, man. Anybody that's in the chat or whatever, please pull up. And make sure y'all also like and subscribe to everybody that's on here, all right? Also, salute to She Stole My Thunder. You know what I mean? I see you up in here. I don't have the rain effects for you tonight, okay? M3's not here in the helm, okay? He may pull up and drop some rain for you. I don't know. But I just want to give you a shout out and make sure you also like and subscribe to She Stole My Thunder as well. Also, we got Everything Every Day podcast by Daryl Long. You know what I'm saying? He's up in the building. What's good? Make sure you like and subscribe to him. Salute the Sim Nation. Salute to everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody giving a shout out. You know what I mean? Let me pull up my guests. You know what I mean? Smitty, what's good? You know what I mean? I know you've been hearing us build, man. What you want to share? You know what I mean? As we've been building. What's going on with you, brother?
Yeah, all right. Kind of listening so far, taking it. So far, I guess you guys don't know whether or not there are other life out there. Is that where we are?
No, we're talking tonight about the continued government cover up of it. In wake of some of the more recent press releases about the sightings that the U.S. Armed Forces are reporting and the whistleblower acts that are being created to protect the U.S. military or U.S. Armed Forces members from making reports and not losing their job. Because keep in mind, part of their job is to report what they see in the field. And if they report what they see in the field and then they lose their job as a report of reporting what they're supposed to be reporting, you see the conflict of interest. So this is the underlining issue that started all of this. It's not really the fact that people have been reporting sightings for since, I don't know, 1900 or so that we have on record, right? But it's not because of that. It's because of what's happening to the U.S. military, the Navy, and all of that. That is causing people to say, wait a minute, you're losing people in your armed forces because they're saying the same things as all these other people, but you're treating them worse than you're treating the general public. And that has consequences far reaching that is really counterintuitive to having an armed forces to quote unquote protect the foreign and domestic threats within the country. So this is why we're having this conversation tonight, because I just wanted to make sure that, we stayed abreast on what's happening and, truth be told, what's not happening too. But we're going to watch a video of a recent press release from NASA. I do have some additional videos. 84, I think it's like a 4-minute video I wanted to show. And by the end, there's a compliance executive order I just wanted to show as proof to a question that's going to be asked in the video, because somebody's going to make the statement that, all of our experiments are made public on our website, and I want to show that that's a damn lie. But yeah, so because that's a damn. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Briefly, I would say to the point of I guess not releasing information. Now, the one thing that I do know, right? Like, because the government, they've done all kind of tests and things to see how people respond. Now, I want us to think about the average response when it came to toilet paper during COVID. And that's just toilet paper. Mm-hmm. So my point in saying that is I do somewhat understand there is a certain amount that they definitely keep classified. One, for espionage reasons, and then two, for the safety of the public. As far as look at how we act when we just feel like the police did one of us wrong, we go burn and tear shit down. So if you really was to have humans believing there's some kind of invasion going, and somehow or another, it's all these different little plans and this country, this and everything else that, there are a lot of people who's going to take advantage of that, and they just going to go off the deep end. And that's when they will have to truly implicate martial law. So that's just the one small piece on that. But I would say play the video so I can take some notes down and gather more information.
Gotcha. And I agree. There is an issue of public safety. However, I think we have enough evidence that to whatever degree the public knows about it, there's always going to be fanatics. And there's been fanatics. There is fanatics, right? And they hardly know anything. So, I think it's personally, at this point, I think it's a matter of oversight in terms of estimating the effect on the public, right? Because there's too many people that are walking around saying, hey, we know what we know, but our government doesn't care. And whatever happens to us, our government doesn't care. So why even say anything? That's the public perception of this whole thing.
Right.
Why open your mouth? I know several people, I've had my own situations, and people are like, yo, don't open your mouth because nobody cares. And that is the wrong idea that the government should have on its own citizens for reporting things that could potentially impact public safety. So it's like there's a conflict of interest in what they're saying they want from the public, which is if you see something, say something, and what they will do to you if you do say something based on what you saw. This is crazy. So yeah, but yeah, when you see it, you'll be able to draw your own conclusions. But it's kind of basic. But the fact that most people don't tune into these committee meetings, they kind of look at it like, oh, they're just talking mumbo jumbo. It's a bunch of stuff we don't understand. And part of my reason for playing it tonight is to show people that these government meetings, when you actually just take the time and just listen to them, you will see how elementary these Negroes are.
Very much.
I know how it looks. It looks like they got the suits on and they're right there and they talking and introducing themselves and talking about that. And you like, okay, what are they talking about? No. Just pay attention for about 15 minutes. You gonna see.
I was saying that the other night when we was having that one show, and I was talking about how they're real good at getting folks who may have certain credentials and they can articulate it very well, but just like how you said, that's where what you're using that's the discernment. And so you're a special case there. A lot of people, they know they don't have that, and they're able to just kind of whisk things right up under our nose. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Yeah.
All right. We got two questions, y'all. All right. So the first question we got from Mr. Johnson, right? Salute to him. Make sure you like and subscribe to his channel. He has some great content, incredible knowledge, and incredible wisdom. He said, at what point will this have any effect on our peoples? Since melanin enhanced beings are oppressed, will ET and Bible continue the way of white folks? Ooh, man, that's a deep one. I mean, I think the more information that we have about this, the more we're able to understand what's actually really going on around us. And I think the more we understand what goes on around us, the better we're able to combat whatever the oppressed and the colonizers is doing. to our people, those who are oppressing the colonizer, because there's some people, of non-melanated folks who are not against us, who actually do care about us and actually do try to, do the right thing. But for those who don't, and for those who are on that type of time, yeah, it's, it's definitely, beneficial. Now, I don't know if the Bible and those other types of things as far as extraterrestrials will continue to rule society. I don't think so, but I think that this will help to uncover more truths about both of those things. And the more truth and knowledge we know, the more wisdom we can have based on what's going on around us. And that's always a plus. Go ahead, Ms. Oshun, if you want to. I see your face eager to take this on. Go ahead.
Well, okay. I'm looking at it, and my response is this, right? What we're talking about affects every people. Okay, especially Black people. And the reason why it's especially Black people is because, and Mr. Best knows we'll be talking about this further on this channel, is that if we're talking about a group of beings that are on this planet, and we have proof that the government have been ignoring this conversation, whether they understand or not, they've been ignoring this for years, right? Let me ask you something. How many Black people go missing every year and are never found? There's a higher percentage of Black people that go missing every year for strange reasons and are never found. And they're not homicide cases. So therefore, if you have anything going on where there could be experiments happening, what group of people do you think they're going to choose from based on our history, right? To do their experiments on. Me and Mr. Best, we're gonna be revisiting that specific conversation. But I'm telling you right now, if you are highly melanated and you have any understanding that what we're talking about tonight has an effect not only on you, but everyone around you that looks like you, from who you are to your drinking water, I'm telling you now, yes, it has a definitely effect on you. And if it doesn't directly affect you right now, it'll indirectly affect your grandkids or your great grandkids, because this is a very momentous time in history. Like I said, we have a lot of history without government covering this up, and the fact that it can't be covered up anymore is testament that we're moving into a new era, and we don't need to dig our heads in the dirt as a people and say, oh, this doesn't have anything to do with us because we can't get money off of it, or it's not feeding us. And you don't even understand to what degree it is feeding you or not feeding you. So it definitely has an effect, and whether or not it does or not, it's just good to just listen and be informed. Thank goodness that the internet allows us to come together and share ideas so that we're just at least abreast on what's going on and not just totally in the dark. Don't get me wrong, we still in the dark. After seeing this video, we still in the dark, but we're not as in the dark as if we would just say, you know what, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to hear about it, and just go about our day. But yeah.
Okay. Let me give a shout out to my guests that pulled up. Dark Lake, what's good? Now, Smitty, did you want to tackle that question real quick? Let me go to the next question that he had, and then we're going to do the video.
Oh, right? I actually just wanted to answer that question, and then I got to bounce if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead. Go for it.
First of all, how you doing, Ms. Oshun? How you good?
Yes. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show, Mr. Best and Smitty. Dude, I always want to call you Fish and Grits because that's when I first met you. My bad. My bad, bro. But how you doing? Hey, listen, I just thought the question was interesting. So at what point will this have any effect on our people, since melanin enhanced beings are oppressed, right? Will ET and Bible continue the way of white folks? Okay, so the second part of the question, the way of white folks, is actually, in my opinion, not the way of white folks. It's a corrupted way of black folks, because everything when it comes to secret societies, building governments and organizations, from Rome, they stole all that from Egypt and Africa. So essentially, it's what exists today pertaining to organization is a corrupted form of what our ancestors taught them, right? So that's one. And then the first part of the question is, you said, since melanin enhanced beings are oppressed. I think that's, I feel like it's kind of outdated for us to look at oppression in that way, right? So like it takes 1 to 3.3 billion years for carbon to crystallize, and after that natural process of 3.3 billion years, you have what it is that's called a diamond, okay? And that's through intense heat in certain parts of the earth, right? That gradually, naturally allows the carbon to crystallize. Now, a diamond could be produced in an unnatural way in a lab in a matter of months, but pertaining to how a diamond is produced, how carbon is crystallized, it takes about 1 to 3.3 billion years, which is roughly like 25 to 75% of the planet Earth's age, right? So when you look at it in that scope of things, right, the carbon in certain parts of the earth that's crystallized, right, it's crystallized because it's in certain parts of the earth where the highest temperatures are. So other carbon that's around it is not being affected by the high temperatures like that carbon. So one could look at that and say, oh, well, this carbon is being oppressed by the heat. How long will this last? But in 3.3 billion years, guess what's going to happen? That's going to be a diamond, and all of the other carbon that was in the surrounding area that wasn't being oppressed by that temperature will never be a diamond.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. I think that we have to look at oppression in a different way. Yeah, that spoke to me. That question spoke to me. I just wanted to share that, guys. Hey, I have to go, but thank you so much for letting me share that perspective on this show. God bless out all of you guys. Peace.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks for pulling up, brother. Appreciate you. Mr. Bliss had another question, and I have a start. Okay. The other question was, if we paying attention to this, how are we engaging in the movement right next door? If these beings are here or there, who's to say that they're intelligent? That's true. I mean, man, I think what he's saying is essential. We do need to clean up our own backyard first before even trying to expand on something that's beyond our realm or even beyond our consciousness or even what we believe or think. So I think what he's saying is actually true. And yeah, we don't know if these beings are intelligent or not. And we don't know if they have advanced technology or not. We don't know any of these things. These are things that we assume are things that we kind of think that they do have, right? So we just assume that because they are of a different life form, that they're automatically advanced, they're automatically intelligent, they're automatically all these things, but we really don't know. So I think what he's saying is actually factual, that we should be cleaning up our own backyard first. Not saying this is not important. I do believe that it is important, but I do believe that, clean up your own home first and kind of worry about what's beyond. But I think to what Ms. Oshun is saying, and even what other people may think as well. And I'm not saying this is what you think, Ms. Oshun. I'm just gathering for what you said. Just based on that, we also got to pay attention to kind of both. We kind of got to play in baseball what they call like center field, or in football free safety. We got to cover multiple things. Or linebacker, right? That's another position where you got to cover multiple areas of football. So we kind of got to be in two places at once. So we got to take care of here. We also got to worry about. We also got to be concerned about what's going on beyond. So I get that as well. So I think it's kind of a pickle. I think both are essentially important. You know what I mean? But I do understand to clean up your own backyard first. I kind of do agree with that rhetoric more than focusing on the beyond. You know what I mean? But you do got to do both. It's hard for me to pick one. Go ahead,
I would say movements right next door in our backyard. These are phrases that are too vast for us to really quantify in a conversation. Because, for instance, you might be focused on what's in your backyard, but what if something drops down in the middle of your backyard? Are you not focused on the threat in your backyard because you're so focused on cleaning up your backyard? Like, now we have to question, well, what is sanity at this point? So I'm just saying, for me, right, we can do two things at once, because a lot of people are following what's happening on Fight Club while also following what's going on in Ukraine right now. While also following what's going on in our U.S. government in terms of the new measures that are rolling out this year, while also worried about what's happening in India. Like, you can do 6 things at the same time, to be honest with you, and that's just putting it mildly based on everything that we have at our disposal. So to say, why are we focused on this, as if you can only focus on one thing at a time? Again, this is old rhetoric. that's just being recycled. If you don't care about what's happening, right, it's because you don't really understand what's happening. You don't understand the reaches of what's happening. When I tell you, right, that the government has a reason to keep something away from you, right, why doesn't that concern you? Right now, you're gonna see footage, right, of the U.S. military footage from their phones in their jets, not from the jet itself, from their personal cell phones, trying to show people that this is not some old dumb shit that they just making up. That it's real, and it's interfering with our U.S. armed forces. So why would you say, why are we paying attention to this? The U.S. armed forces is paying attention to it, which is the only reason why this conversation is happening on this scale, because it's becoming more and more of a problem in our airspace. That's it. The U.S. Navy is already on deck because of this issue. So it's like, I just have to caution people talking about, well, why are we paying attention to this when we need money? It's like, let me tell you something, money or no money, if something kick off out here, you ain't gonna have what you don't got, period.
Can I say something to that? You're smacking the point, sister. Well, one, to what Brother Soapbox was saying earlier, right before I hopped on, how you were saying, it's a lot of things to keep us comfortable. Comments like that is an absolute prime poster child example of how comfortable we are. That question, see, you got to decode it. The decoding is, why are you concerned about that when we just lit out this bitch? I mean, there's so much stuff out here that's fun. We got a bunch of beefing going on, rappers getting shot. We got to, I think some new Jordans is coming out. I don't know, is Love and Hip Hop doing another season? I think Suki Hana just farted on a nigga's face again. I mean, we got all this stuff that we can talk about, right? Why are you worried about that? Well, see, the thing is this, right? Let's just take seafood. Niggas love them some good old shrimp and crab legs and fish and all of that. Well, you need marine biologists and you need people to make sure that the oceans stay cool. See, we don't need to just focus on what's in the land, right? We need to focus on what's in our waters. I would say definitely a very important reason, just like how she said something land in your backyard. There are many situations where our big brother Jupiter were not able to stop asteroids. So for those who don't know, that's the number one purpose that Jupiter serves for us. Real deal. If Jupiter was not there, we probably would have been destroyed a long time ago. And sometimes in that astro belt, you do get big meteors and things that can hit. A lot of these things be radioactive, cancerous, the whole nine. So the thing about it is that when we think about what really is important, even down to, if you like, your buildings and structures, steel. No, hold on. Iron. There we go. It's no. It's steel or iron. Forgive me. Somebody Google behind me. Steel, iron. One of them is not from planet Earth. One of them is it's an alien material. It's not. No, it's not from planet Earth. Iron or steel, one of them. So to think about everything that we use in building with that, all of these things are extremely important. We would not be as far as we are in society today. All the technology that we have and all of the things that we know and all of your little fun things that you can do, a large part of all of these reasons is because there are people like Brother Soapbox and Sister Oshun up here who will go ahead and make sure that we do keep track of different things. Now, I'm just saying that as far as to land it, we got more than enough people who's covering all the bullshit out here. We got more than enough of that, right? We got more than enough people that's covering any and everything else that's trivial, right? So one thing that I would never want to do is ever try to discourage and or knock down somebody who is bringing awareness about something that is also just as important. Even though you may not be able to see the importance, it doesn't mean that it's not there. But with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Definitely. Okay, I get everybody's point of view. I'm glad everybody shared. He has more questions. Yeah, he does. He does have more questions, but I'm gonna get to the video real quick, Mr. Johnson. If you are still watching, there is a link that is pinned to the chat. Definitely, if you can, definitely pull up, come through, show some love, and share your perspective because we definitely would love to hear it. You know what I mean? All perspectives, everything is welcomed up here. You know what I mean? Salute to Lady Phoenix. Thank you for pulling up. You know what I mean? You know, salute. You know what I mean? Also, salute to my sister, Just Misdemeanor. Now, I mean, make sure you follow her on all social media platforms. I just hosted a live with her not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, she's over there in the UK representing Big Up Gang, Big Up Love. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what I mean? Okay. He has another question. I'm hoping he hits the link so he can ask these questions.
Yes. he like back to back. Okay. Let's watch the video first. Like, let's just watch the video first. Like, dang. Like, well,
but this is what we want. We want everybody to engage, man. We want people to share their perspective and engage, and you know what I mean, and give us different point of views because we could be wrong about certain things. Like, I'm open to being wrong. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Also, salute to the homie Jamal Smalls. You know what I mean? Salute. You know what I mean? Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. You know what I mean? According to @Documentaries, make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. Thanks for pulling up. Salute to you all as well. You know what I mean? Everybody giving their love and giving their greetings. You know what I mean? You know, he has another question. All right. So, man, I'm hoping he pulls up. I really do hope he pulls up. That'll be great. So with that being said, y'all, we do have a video. You know what I mean? Also, salute to my sister, Kimberly KMA. She says, good morning from South Africa. Thank you for pulling up, sister. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're drinking coffee or tea right now, but I know you're drinking something. You know what I mean? So, yeah, salute to you. You know what I mean? Yes, definitely nothing but love here. There's love for everybody here, yo, for real. You know what I mean? So let me get to this video. Let me pull it up. Let me drop my fair use, as I always know, fair use with every video that we share. All right? Let me pull this up. Mute my mic.
Spergel, who is the president of the Simons Foundation and was also the chair of this particular independent study team. I will ask everybody in the room to please silence your cell phones. We will get started with everybody giving a few opening remarks, and then we will take questions. We will take questions both in the room and then from the phones. And for now, I will hand it over to the administrator.
Thanks so much, and thanks for coming today.
Is my screen froze?
NASA searches for the unknown in air and space. It's in our DNA. From digging on Mars with the Perseverance rover in those little titanium tubes that we intend to go back and pick up, digging in a dry lake bed near the mouth of a river. Now we're going up to the top of the cliff where the scientists feel that there could be the best examples of if there were life there millions of years ago. Whether we're dealing with Perseverance or the James Webb Space Telescope, which searches for exoplanets with signs of habitability, we are looking for signs of life. Past
Can you pause it right
present.
there?
And it's in our DNA to explore.
Can you pause
and
it right there?
Ask why things are the way they are.
84. Can you pause it right there?
In June of last year, NASA commissioned
Okay. I wanted you to pause it right there because it goes on.
I was struggle streaming. My bad.
No, I wanted you to pause it right there because it goes into something else at this point. But I wanted to kind of zero in on what he said in terms of NASA is there because they're committed essentially to looking for signs of life. And he went into, prior to that statement, speaking about the digs that they're on their mission on Mars. What's the word? What's disingenuous to me is that he's saying we're looking for signs of life, but what he's not really saying is NASA. The purpose of NASA is not to look for signs of life. If you look at the inception of NASA, they were there to study how to create flight, as in planes, as in studying how flights and planes move through the air. That's what they were created for. They wasn't there to create anything about life. That came much later. However, the life that he's referring to, as he said in his statement, is microbial life. NASA is not there to study life as in intelligent life. That is not what they are there for. They have not a committee, but they have a subsection called SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, right? That section of, let's say your space missions, right? Even they kind of stick with microbial life. They try to put it like anything beyond microbial life is just kind of silly, right? But yet they said intelligent life. That's in their title. Intelligence. That's what they're talking about. Intelligent life. Why are they talking about digs? Yet they're saying our purpose is to look for intelligent life, as to look for life, as if they are referring to life as in holistically. They're not looking for life holistically, and here's the proof of it. What protocol do they have if they should come in contact with a life form like ours or something beyond our understanding? What is their protocol when it comes to any contact with such a thing to protect our planet from anything or any cross-contamination? What is their protocol to protect human beings from total annihilation if something should be there and come here as a result of this? What is the protocol in our law system? We have none, because according to them, this is silliness. But they want you to believe we're committed to finding life. Meanwhile, he just referenced digs. It's like, what if somebody was talking about finding life in the universe and said we're going to Earth to dig to find life? You would think they're not smart enough to come to anybody's planet, let alone study life. That's what you would think if you just flip it around a little bit. So this is where, in my opinion, NASA is being very disingenuous in the very inception of what they're committed to. I can understand they're committed to finding, like Smitty said, that finding different alloys, different things that we can use on this planet, to discovering just new stuff, right? New viruses, new rocks, things like that, new patterns of gravity. Sure. However, to say that we're committed to studying life as in all life forms, that is not true. Their history has not proven that, and currently they are not proving that. So I'll let Smitty speak on that, but I just wanted to stop right there because I found that highly offensive.
You muted, brother.
Yeah. So, one, when it comes to the whole life aspect, because I love to study things in space, and it's just kind of my thing too. There are several planets that have been discovered that can sustain life. The only reason why we always keep talking about Mars is because Mars has a core, and Mars can bring about photosynthesis if we get enough algae and lay it up there. So long story short, like if you take what is that, KO1-5715.01, that is a planet that is actually, it's smaller than Earth, but it's actually it's better than Earth because it's untouched. It's the same as planet Earth. You also have a Kepler dash, I think it's 69c. Yeah, if you type in Kepler dash 69c, that is a planet also, because satellites have been able to reach these places. I think the KO1-57, that's about 3,000 light years away. We're not capable of traveling that far yet. So what scientists are trying to do is, see, that's one of the main reasons why too they're like really trying to get away from combustion engines and all of that type of stuff, because in every way possible, they're trying to figure out how can we bring about further transportation, not even better, just further, right? How far can we possibly go? So the satellites are able to reach there. We're able to get information back through the satellites. How, I don't know how they do that shit, but that's beyond me. But they're able to get back information. And so they've discovered all these things, just like how it's landed. They were even saying, now we can't live on Pluto, but they took Pluto off as a planet for a while. Now it's back because they've all actually found volcanoes, and they've also found what is I forgot. It's a form of water. I'll look it up and I'll tell you later. But it's a form of water that they found is completely frozen over. So when they first was looking at it, they really thought like, oh, nah, it's kind of like another moon. It's almost like Io, Europa, and Callisto. Those are the ones that circle Jupiter. They thought it was more like that. But when they saw those volcanic holes with actual soot coming out of 6 of them, then that's when they went on ahead and they started re-looking into it and changed their perspective. So things are flipping and switching every day. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Well, I the only thing I would say to that is in regards to what the administrator here said in reference to the whole purpose of NASA is that, yes, I can say they're committed to exploration, which goes into what you said, Smitty, as far as like developing engines that can travel space without combustion, things like that. That is what NASA originally started, like I said, as. So that would be part of their mission statement, right? But for someone to say, well, NASA, we're the part of the government or non-government or whatever that studies extraterrestrial life and figures out if that's the truth or not. That's not what NASA actually does. That's not even what they're equipped to do, which you'll see by the end of this. People are questioning, well, how are you guys conducting these things? Because your technology doesn't match what is necessary for this. For instance, what the Navy has, right? They're more equipped to study this than NASA. So I don't understand his statement in reference to just his opening statement about the purpose of NASA and what they're committed to. I'd rather him say, listen, we committed to finding out whatever we can find out. And right now we don't know much. I can appreciate that. Then him saying, well, we're committed to finding life. Meanwhile, you know what life he ain't talking about. I don't like that. That right there is the trick bag. That's what that is.
Nah, but I get you on that. No, I know that part totally. I get you on. I was just saying as far as like, yeah, like as far as looking for life, yeah, no, I agree with you as far as like I don't see how we're going to accomplish that part, but what we have been able to do thus far is find other planets that are habitable and sustainable. That's about it. That's the furthest we've gotten so far. But you know, rock out though. Nah, you got it. You on point.
So 84, if you want to continue, I think this should run to about a couple more seconds here, and then I want to take something over. But you can press play for right now.
Definitely. I'm gonna take a quick pause for the pause real quick. Some of the people that I pulled up, because I've seen that you pulled up, And I'm going to get to some of these comments as well. Information Man Show, thank you for pulling up. Salute, 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 salute. You know what I mean? Also, salute to my sister, April Carter. See, she came up in the building. Salute to her as well. You know what I mean? Let me scroll down because I got some more comments. And I'm going to also get to some of the comments that have been put in the chat. Okay, salute to Big Rick Slaps. You know what I mean? Also, salute to my man, Sweat Bread. You know what I mean? What's going on? What's going on? Who else checked in here? Who else checked in? Oh, Sister Chocolate. You know what I mean? Hey, salute. What's going on? All right, so let me get to the to some of these comments up in here as well. All right, so let me see where I'm gonna go first. Okay, Mr. Johnson says it's not about right or wrong. It's about a true manifestation of beliefs. What you believe the government lied over and over you as an intellectual must cancel them out. Period. Bring on ET. Okay. All right. You know what I'm saying? He said bring them on. All right. You know what I mean? Sister KMA says, aliens will surface, but they are not friends nor friendly. They will act like friendlies, but to the ones with true sight, will see through their agenda. Oh, wow. So you think that they come in to shut things down. Okay, KMA. I mean, they may be friendly. We don't know. You know what I mean? And it may not. You may be actually right. So, but we going to find out. Oh, we dang sure going to find out. You know what I mean? Everybody's showing love. Everybody's saying good mornings and what's up. So what all that. You know what I mean? Let me get back to the video.
An independent study team to examine unidentified anomalous phenomena. We did so with a few goals in mind. First, to examine how NASA can use our expertise and instruments to study UAP from a scientific perspective. Second, shift the conversation about UAP from sensationalism to science, and to make sure that whatever we find or whatever we recommend, to make sure that information is shared transparently around the world.
Okay, can you stop right there?
Global
Okay, so, all right, he just said that the purpose here is to find information based on data, scientific method status, right? Not that the scientific method is the end all be all to everything in the universe, but based on the scientific method to the purpose of sharing this information worldwide. Do you think this man is telling the truth? Like coming from the US of A government, they're there to study these things they don't understand so that they can share information about technology they don't understand with other countries, like their enemies. Like, that's why they're doing this. Like, again, pissing and not even saying that it's right. You're not there to study this and share all the information with any and every government that will listen. That is not what you're there to do. And I can respect you saying, listen, we're not fitting to share everything. We'll share some stuff, but not everything. I can accept that from my government more than I can accept these open lies that they're saying. This is what's pissing me off. Not the fact that the government has to maintain some level of secrecy for security purposes. Not that. It's the dumb stuff. Like right here. You understand? Like, we want to share this with the world. How, sir? How? For what reason do you want to share this with your enemies? Like, I don't understand. They got their own government doing the same thing. Why do you need to share your findings with them, of which they're not sharing their findings with you? So what are you doing to your own people, playing into their aspirations for open and free government that you think they want? So you're trying to sell them the idea that the U.S. government is transparent. That's what you're trying to do. Meanwhile, in your speech itself, we see that you're not being transparent. This don't make any sense to me. This don't make any sense to me. But I mean, you can let it go a couple more seconds because I want to share something. He's going to go into a certain point where he talks about when their organization got involved with this or was asked to get involved with this by Congress. And then I want to share something. I got a video I want to share real quick on that. But you can go ahead and press play. Unless, Smitty, you got something else to say.
Fascination with UAP. On my travels, one of the first questions I often get is about these sightings. And much of that fascination is due to the unknown nature of it. Think about it. Most UAP sightings result in very limited data.
Okay, so hold it right there. How do we know that? This is what I'm saying. They're there for the facts. The facts is, how many times have these sightings been investigated? Like fully investigated. He ain't giving you no statistics on that. He's just giving you this smirk on his face saying, well, most sightings like that are just basically fanatical people. It's like, how you know that, sir? I mean, like, how do you know that? You're here based on the facts. Have you studied the investigations on said sightings? But you're here to sell me on data. But you're not telling me what data you have collected from this and what sources is that from. Because we all know that there's been times in our history where there was lots of data that nobody gave a shit about. Lots of data. Nobody cared to even look at. Just like that. So, you know, and I'm noticing their body language as well while we're talking about this. And as much as they're talking about taking the sensationalism away, when he talks about UFO sightings, you see the smirk on his face where it's almost like he's like, these crazy people. And it's like, this whole meeting is to decenter allowing people to be ridiculed for stating something that they saw that's truthful. And you're kind of juxtapositioning that to, you know, I don't know, fanatical people. It's like this right here is the forked tongue, as they say. Like, I just noticed that. Somebody else might not see it that way, but that's how I'm reading his body language along with what he's saying. But you can press play or continue. Yeah. You there, D4?
That makes it even more difficult to draw scientific conclusions about the nature of UAP. And so this independent study team brought together some of the world's leading scientists, data, and artificial intelligence experts. Aerospace safety specialist, all with a specific charge from me, which is to tell how to apply the full focus of science and data to UAP. And this is the first time that NASA has taken concrete action to seriously look into UAP.
Okay, stop right there. So he is telling the truth about that this is the first time they actually are taking this serious. Now, I wanna show you something, right? In terms of how well NASA actually plays on when it comes to in the public's face. Give me 1 sec. Let me pull up something real quick. This is the first time they taking stuff serious. Let me get my timestamp here correct, because I want to move forward to something. I just want to show you how long NASA has been involved with this. Okay. 84. I'm gonna share a screen. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Let me see my entire screen. Stream studio film. I don't know why this ain't film. Okay. Okay. You can share my screen. Let me know when you got it.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. Just
Okay.
Just make it bigger. Just make it bigger.
Okay. So let me create a move. Okay. So so you guys see this right here, right?
Yep.
Okay. You see that black and white?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'm gonna roll this back here just so we get some understanding of how long they have been aware of this issue, yet haven't took any action towards it.
I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucer.
In the 1960s, then Congressman Gerald Ford asked Congress to investigate.
Did you hear that? In the 1960s.
Mm-hmm. That's when you have the whole, like Roswell and all that. Yeah.
In the 1960s. Now, it's 2023. 60 years ago, almost to the date. 60 years ago, Congress was asked to investigate. Now, obviously, Congress don't investigate nothing. They get entities like NASA and the CIA to investigate. But this is 60 years ago. They were asked to investigate not sightings from people on the street saying, I saw something, but from the U.S. military, from the U.S. Armed Forces. They received information and they said, well, we need an investigation on this. But this is what NASA did. Hold on, let's see how much they've paid attention.
Leading to the last public hearings on UFOs. Quote, I believe the American people are entitled to a more thorough explanation than has been given to them by the Air Force.
You see that? Now, if I'm not mistaken, is it not the Air Force personnel that are making these reports that they have information from? Yet it's the Air Force that is stopping the U.S. Congress from knowing anything. This is the dumbness right here. 60 years of NASA being aware of what's going on. The top administrators at NASA has been aware that there's been investigations, yet nobody asked NASA to get involved in it until now. No, what he said is true. They were asked to get involved. They sure was. But guess what? They did absolutely nothing. But their purpose is to look for extraterrestrial life. Tell me where the lie is. Help me understand that.
Investigation known as Project Blue Book concluded that UFOs were not extraterrestrial, nor did they pose a threat to our national security.
Look at this. They concluded these are not extraterrestrial. Based on what? They didn't even have instruments back then to fully understand what they were looking at. But they concluded this is not extraterrestrial. So basically, there was another government flying in U.S. airspace, and they didn't care anything about it. Quote, doesn't pose a threat to our national security. This is okay. Let me stop sharing. Okay, let me stop sharing because this is the crap right here. He told you the truth, but he didn't put it in context. Yeah, this is the first time they've taken it serious. But look how long they've been playing games. Yet they want to be the arbitrators of truth now. That's what they want you to kind of believe with all of this. And so, I mean, I think on this network, I've made my opinion clear that the purpose of all of this is not so much to tell you that, intelligent life exists and or it's on this planet, but there's something else behind this that they want to keep secret. And this, even though it's a lot to take in, is something that's a cover-up. But we can work through the cover-up. But I just wanted people to see how long NASA has been aware of this investigation that they were supposed to have been on, and they didn't investigate a damn thing. And you're going to see how much of an investigation they've done so far, since it's been a whole year since they've been asked to investigate this. Okay, so they said a year. I just showed you from 1960. But go ahead.
Let me take a quick call for the pause again. Salute to Miss Nebraska. Make sure you follow Mr. Nebraska on Twitch and all the other platforms. Salute. What's going on, fam? Smitty, anything you want to share, bro, before I continue the video? You muted, bro.
Yeah, just one small thing. So, the last part on when it comes to travel. Now, if we're gonna leave right out of our solar system, we're now in interstellar, and from what they've done in the tests, we're not able to handle light speed. The human body traveling in anything that we are capable of building right now would be kind of equivalent to like the Ocean Gate situation. So basically, like what light speed would do traveling at light speed, what it would do is it will basically make the organs combust, like your insides, like it'll crush you. If you notice, that's even why like people who fly in the fastest jets, they have to wear like air masks and they have all kinds of things hooked up to them just so that they can handle jet speed. Now, if you're talking about something anywhere close to like a light speed, yeah, that's and I think the fastest jets get somewhere like about 700 miles per hour, something like that. So light speed is over 1,000. I don't know if it's 1,200 or what it is, but it's over 1,000. No, light speed is 1,000 miles per second. So we can't handle that. So that's not even something that we could even begin to do. But last part on what you're saying as far as this guy goes, I do see what you're saying on that. But like, all right, the way I look at his role, as almost like how politicians work. And you know how we know how politicians work. It's like they'll kind of tell you what's going on, but not really. They'll like kind of tell you the truth, but not really. And so the way he comes off very much so like this feels like something at Congress right now. So yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm almost forgetting this is supposed to be like about space. Like this feels like a presidential something going on. But anyway, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Rock out.
He's like, listen, I keep forgetting this is supposed to be about space. Like these people is like politicking for real. But Mr. Best, you can skip down to the 19-minute mark. If I'm not, there should be a lady that comes up. And we should see her. She's another panelist. But if you skip to the 19-minute mark, because he goes on for a long time right here talking about the purpose of NASA, and I'm like, listen, you people get paid way too much to not really have much of a purpose at this point. But yeah,
definitely. Okay, I'm gonna see it to the 19-minute mark. Before I do that, take calls for the pause. Through to Embrace the Grace. Make sure everybody that please you tune in to Embrace the Grace, okay, part of the JVJ network, all right? But definitely support her channel, support the network, you know what I mean? She has some great stuff, you know what I mean? And me and Smitty be on there rocking out all the time, you know what I mean? Check her out, she's dope, you know what I mean? And hopefully she pulls up tonight. I know she's busy, but Grace, if you're not, and you got a little bit of time, definitely pull up, you know what I mean? Also, Mr. Nebraska already shouted you out already. You know what I mean? Big Rick says he's chasing the clouds. All right. I hear you. You know what I mean? Everybody giving greetings and salutations. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's get to the video, y'all. Let me go to the 19-minute mark.
Thank you. Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers. We will start taking questions. For those in the room, we have a microphone over here that we would ask you to speak into. We will also be alternating with
Mr. Best, you can scroll it to where this lady talks. I think that's a little before this time. That's the questions. No. The other way. Not him. You can go, not him, but her. So if you go back to her beginning when she came up, yeah, right there with her name, right there. You can stop right there. Yeah, 9:14. Actually, that's
continued contributions towards the advancement of our nation's understanding of unidentified anomalous phenomena. UAP, as Bill just eloquently said, UAP are one of our planet's greatest mysteries. And it's really due to the limited number of high quality data that surrounds such incidents and often renders them unidentifiable. While there are numerous eyewitness accounts and visuals associated with UAP, they're not consistent, they're not detailed, and they're not curated observations that can be used to make definitive scientific conclusions about the nature and the origin of UAP. The language of scientists is data, and data points towards a scientific conclusion to what the nature and the origin of UAP could be. That leads us to why we're here today. The independent study team's report is now public, and it can be found at NASA. Science.nasa.gov/UAP. While NASA is still working to evaluate the report and to assess the independent study team's findings and recommendations, NASA is committed to immediately contribute to the federal government's unified UAP effort. And as you heard, we have appointed a director of UAP research. In their role, they will centralize communications, resources, and data analytical capabilities across the federal government to establish a robust database for the evaluation of any future data. Additionally, our Director of UAP Research will also leverage NASA's expertise in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and space-based observation tools that will support and enhance the broader government initiative into UAP.
Okay, you can pause it right here. NASA. Okay, so Mr. Best, I want to draw everybody's attention to what she keeps harping on. Okay, so you notice that she keeps saying that the reason why we're here, the reason why there is a such thing as unidentified whatever, is because there's no high quality data. Now ask yourself, what will be considered high quality data based on what we're talking about? Okay, what would be high quality data? Mr. Smith, do you have any suggestions on what would be considered high quality data that we can use to study whatever is in these things that are flying around?
So you're asking about what exactly, like, can we use from flying aircrafts that are unidentified?
And you see how confusing it is? That's my point. The only evidence they have to date, okay, is information in storage on paper of reports that came from long time ago, people talking about their experience, right? They have footage from the U.S. Armed Forces, right, of which I can show you some right now. They have footage of these things on camera, and they have other like amateur footage from people who have caught things on camera as well. And of course, they have police reports of people saying, hey, I seen this. There was the incident in Virginia, Brazil, where there were people that claimed that something crashed and something came out of that crash, and it looked at somewhat human, but it wasn't human, and it had a smell to it that was nothing like anything on this planet. That's what came out of the reports out of Brazil, that something came out of that with that ship, and
Right.
3 women seen it. But these 3 women were village girls, and they were just telling the police what they saw. This is all they got to go on. So here's the thing. If that's not quality information,
Right.
police reports, military reports, what else? Okay, video footage. That's not enough. What would be considered high quality data then?
Yeah, you got me there.
So you see how they're pigeon toeing like the investigation.
That's a hell of a term. I like that.
Yeah, they're pigeon toeing. They basically saying, "Hey, we ain't killing the investigation, but we damn sure can't do it because ain't no high quality data out here that we think is worth us looking at." The food. And then now notice this, right? When the police want to investigate to take your life, they will use what people write, what people say, what people didn't say. They will use video footage. They will put everything together to create a whole story to convict you of the death penalty even. But that's not enough. That's not high quality data to figure out what's going on here.
Well, I will say to that is this. One thing that I definitely do know from the research I've been able to gather, which isn't a lot, but enough to come to this conclusion, is there's a whole lot of stuff that they are hiding. Like, look, there are things that definitely have been found and retrieved. Like whatever you was talking about with them girls that found that said whatever, I can almost assure you within Lord knows how long, folks was over there and they retrieved and removed, and they made sure that by all means necessary that whoever saw what or said what will never say anything about it, and or so I know that there are things that go on. I know that there are things that have been discovered. I know that there are definitely some stuff out there that's for a long time been a mystery and has now come and has now come to surface, but it hasn't been brought to the light. It's come to the surface as far as it's now been discovered, it's known, but they ain't bring it to the light as far as telling us. Now, as far as whatever that reason is, that's the part I don't really know too much. Even like I said before, and I really stand on that. I take in what's revealed to me, and I try my best not to be seeking all the answers. And so, I mean, I just look at it as they got something going on. They have things that they're hiding. But when we're going to figure that out, I don't know. Like Area 51 in Arizona, that's not there no more. That's that location. People still be trying to go. That's not even there no more. They've moved. That's somewhere else now. And the thing is, it's not even just that one. If it's Area 51, there's a 58, 59, there's a 42. They're all over the place.
Right.
So it's a lot of stuff that goes on out here. But I'll leave it at that.
Right. And see, this is what I'm saying. There's so much. There's information, right? Because look what we're talking about. We're talking about potentially a race of beings that are beyond our understanding in terms of their technology. So how do we investigate a technology and a people that is beyond our understanding with, let's say, what we would consider outdated tools to even investigate? How do we do that? There is no such thing as high quality data. This is the trick right here. The only thing we have is eyewitness accounts, video footage, and a few people that have went on record to say that they have physically came in contact with certain things. And they're telling you whatever happened that the investigations found, and you have that again on record. This is what you have to study. Like even with the aerial phenomenon that the U.S. Navy had on camera, right? The only thing you have is the footage that they gave you. That's the only thing you have. So are you saying that that's not high quality because it's footage? Like at this point, like they would go in and say, well, if you're reporting something to the government, right? Now that you know it's okay to report, make sure that your information is high quality. Well, what are you expecting me to give you? DNA evidence that I scraped off of a ship or some extraterrestrial to show you, hey, this right here happens to me? Like, is that what we're talking about? I've heard reports, right, of people saying that they've come in contact with just the vehicle that have shut their hearing off, that have caused mental discombobulation. Like, I've heard so many stories that before you couldn't even get to the point of coming near some of these vehicles. So how do you quantify that? All you have is someone saying, I seen something and this is my experience. So as an investigation panel here, okay, the only thing you can do is put together an investigation based on all information, not information that you feel is quality based on your outdated technology, based on what we're talking about here. Like, truth be told, if there's a group of people that came clear across the universe to come here, they are ahead of us in every way that we can think of. There is no technology that we can use to figure out how they got here. Truth be told, the U.S. Navy is giving you footage based on the fact that they couldn't even perceive that something came in from outside of our airspace and suddenly was in front of them. Their machines didn't even pick that up. So what technology do we have that we can track and trace whatever these things are? What technology do we have? The only thing we have is video footage and eyewitness testimonies to put anything together about what's happened. That's all we got. So for her to say, well, if it's not high quality, we don't want it. It's like, this is you trying to say, we couldn't investigate that. Then y'all going to see later on when they ask questions that they're going to act, they're going to basically do that double speech thing where they're not going to actually answer the question. They're going to act like the question didn't have what they said in the question. So they're just basically going to repeat the question. They're not going to answer it. And yet they're going to tell you that, hey, the U.S. government is going to be clear about this. We're going to be open and transparent. Meanwhile, you can't even be transparent in a conversation. But you want me to believe that you being transparent with me about findings? Get out of here with that. Like, get with that. Now, Now, 84, before you go on, right, because I don't think that we need to berate the point. There was the other panelist that Mr. Daniel, I think he was a guy in a tan suit, right? He went on to say that NASA was committed to charting the uncharted, right? And although that was said very beautifully, I question, again, what they're talking about. Because the uncharted is the bottom of our oceans. That's what's uncharted. Right now, just on this topic of UAPs, right? There's reports from the U.S. military and the Navy and a few other armed forces that these UAPs come down from the sky, go into the ocean, and then come back out the ocean and go return to space within seconds. So, if NASA is committed, as he said, to charting the uncharted, right? Why is it that when somebody tells you there's something in the water, there's things that are traveling in and out of space without being detected by no military, in and out of water, and there's people that see it, there's video footage, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can tell. Right now, I think there was this strange situation with these fish and these whales turning up on the seashores. People were saying, why all of a sudden you got thousands of fish coming out of the sea as if some sort of sonic sound happened in the water that caused them all to die. That don't make any sense for our government to cause our fish supply to die. I highly doubt the government wants to drive the price of fish up, given we're in election season, 1. 2, this is not a good deal for U.S. trade, period. I highly doubt they're causing their own destruction in that degree. So something else is in the water. Why isn't NASA charged with exploring what's in the ocean? They all out in space.
Well, I can say one small piece to that.
Mm-hmm.
To a degree, there are a lot of things that we're doing to cause our own destruction. Like, for example, right now, whoever's on a cell phone now, this is a fact that the cell phone signals, like all of our towers and stuff, it was throwing off the bees signals. So I'm pretty sure anybody who goes outside enough, if you're somebody like myself or whatever, you know, for a while we were noticing a lot of bees, like you just weren't seeing them like that in the summer. And how that causes our own destruction is because bees pollinate almost like 3/4 of the food that we eat. So if bees go, there's a lot of vegetation that's gone within like a few decades or so. We won't survive. So there are things that, like, not even saying directly, but like indirectly from what we're doing. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we're doing to cause our own destruction. Now, is the government doing it like purposely or not? I don't know. I'm not the government. My mother used to work for them. I don't know. Maybe I can ask her tomorrow something if I go. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Well, I agree with you, right? However, I think that it is worth, as she said, the investigation for the data to investigate what's in the ocean, because we have instances where whales and fish is being affected by sonic waves. Not to say we're not the cause of that, but she has no data to know, is it humans that's causing this, or is there something else at play in the midst of everything going on? Because we do have people, sailors, naval officers, claiming that there's spaceships coming down from the sky and going into the water. Like, why not?
I can say you this on the whale part. This is a real thing. Out of nowhere, whales have been attacking a lot of ships, destroying them. Like, just out of nowhere, a bunch of them would just rally up and totally destroy the whole vessel. Scientists have been trying to figure out, like, is this some kind of like mad cow disease on whales type thing? Like, what's going on? So I didn't know that part about what you were saying with the signals and stuff. Because then I connected my mind to what I was researching on that. As far as a lot of whales is primarily the sperm whales and the orcas, whales, orcas, and humpbacks primarily are just terrorizing ships for no reason. And I think that has a lot to do with maybe possibly what you're referring to. There could be a connection.
Right. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Smitty. There could be a connection, but here's the thing. If what she's saying is we need high quality data, right? Is that not data? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yes, that is information. Yes.
So why is it that that's not?
It's almost like if it's a murder and somebody's like, look, I did see a dude, blah, 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 whatever. Police generally take every single tip and lead. They don't turn down no leads when they're trying to solve a mystery, a murder, a kidnapping, whatever. So if this is something that's way bigger than that, you talk about civilization, humanity, or whatever, yes, I do agree. You would think that they would take almost a police-like role mindset and follow up on every lead. Don't turn down no lead, no tip, no nothing.
But that's exactly what they're doing. But they're telling you the reason why they're doing it is because it's not high quality. Like, not quality, high quality. Now, this is just irritating to me because it's such a smack in the face, because they're here telling you that they're the authority that's investigating, but they're going to also tell you why they can't investigate so that you can feel like they did something, but then know that they're not going to tell you anything whether they did or didn't. This is what I'm talking about right here. You know, Now it went. Now I do want to get to the questions, right? Because that's the juicy part. But I want to say that also there was the other guy, David, right? Because there's 3 other guys on there. The guy David, he spoke about the fact that NASA typically doesn't have the tools to investigate such a topic, right? So they employ other specialists to come on and basically help them investigate. However, themselves, they are not equipped to study such a thing. But you heard the administrator say that the purpose of NASA is to study and go where they find all life. So here's the thing. How are you finding all life if you don't have instruments that can tell you anything about life? Like, I mean, if you don't have it, then you don't have it. But why are you telling me in one breath, this is what you do, but then in the next breath, you're telling me, no, that ain't really what we do because we don't have the tools to do that. So I just, again, are you investigating or aren't you investigating? What's really going on? You know, that's all I'm saying. What's really going on? But Mr. Best, if you want, right, you can skip to the questions part because I didn't want to berate the point because I think we had 1.5 hours in. And I know other people may have questions. I wanted to get to the question portion of this video so that we can kind of see some of the, excuse my French, okay, for all you guys in Europe, some of the fuckery that is going on out here. If you can skip, I think it's 19. I think you passed it before. At the 19 minute and 30-second mark, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that. Also salute to S. Nicole, also known as Unicorn. You know what I mean? Definitely salute. Make sure y'all follow her on her social media journey. Said some great things. M3 also has popped up. He's also showing more love to people again. So with M3, you know what I mean? Also as well, I think when it comes to high profile information, that's information that they have to keep guarded, and also information that they want to keep guarded because, like I said, they want to control a narrative. That's the whole problem of government. They just want to control a narrative. They don't care about protecting people. They don't care about if you're safe. They don't care about if you're gonna make it or not. They just want to control a narrative. So if the 3 of our lives have to be deleted based on controlling the narrative, they'll do it in a heartbeat. They won't even think about it. So, you know, for that information to be high profile, they're gonna do whatever it takes to, you know what I mean, keep that information classified. Okay, they're gonna do whatever it takes to protect that information because they know that it can threaten the status quo, not the safety, but the status quo of what they want to keep going, you know, in society. You know what I mean? So give me 1 second, I'm about to pull that up. Salute to Sister Ramadan, salute. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and on her social media platforms. You know what I mean? Yeah, hold on one second.
Right here. Right there. You can stop it right there. Yep.
We will start taking questions. For those in the room, we have a microphone over here that we would ask you to speak into. We will also be alternating with questions from those on the phone line. For those of you who are in the phone line, please press *1 to get onto the queue. We will try to answer as many as we can today. We'll see how it goes. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. This is directed to Mr. Nelson. Thank you for being here. 2 quick questions. One is, how can we make the determination of what something isn't when we don't know what it is? And B, after a careful review of the data, if it's determined that some, underline the word, some 10 times, UFOs or UAP originate from a non-human intelligence, what's the plan to disclose that to the public?
Mr. Best, pause it. Okay, so I want the audience to pay close attention to the simplicity of his question and how the answer is going to be so complicated, yet it's not going to actually answer. The man simply said, how can you tell me what it's not? if you don't even know what it is? There's an answer to that, right? Because sometimes you can know more about what something isn't than what it is. We have examples of that in our personal lives, right? However, he's asking the question, how can you tell me what it isn't, right? So that right there is very simple. If you don't know what it is, you have no idea, why are you telling me what it's not? How do you know that? And the second question is, how do you plan to disclose that to the public? Now let it play and see if this man answers either one of those questions. Go ahead.
James Fox.
I'm sorry, on what outlet?
Independent media. Thank you.
Well, let me repeat.
It's on.
Let me repeat.
You can turn it up to 84 if you need to, because he's kind of low. Oh, it's already up. It's fine.
I think it's important that you hear this word for word. The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin.
Okay, pause right there. I'm sorry. Pause right there.
What these UAP?
Now you heard what he said. He said to this man's question, we have not found that these UAPs have an extraterrestrial origin. The man already told you that in his question. If you don't know what it is, how are you telling me what it is not? If you don't know what it's not, how are you telling me what it is? He's literally repeating what this man has already said to him. This is what I'm saying. When you see these panels and these congressional meetings, don't think that you can't understand what they're talking about. Just listen to them. They don't. Just listen to this. He just. The answer was already in the question. You don't know what these things are. I read your report. So how are you telling me that it's not human? I'm sorry, it's not extraterrestrial. If it's not extraterrestrial, then it's human, right? What are we talking about? But you don't know? Listen, pick a lie. Don't pick a side. Pick a lie. Let me pick the way that lie. Don't keep giving me 60 different lies. Like, I just pick one lie. One sir. Forgot his name. You can go ahead, let it rock.
The mission of NASA is to find out the unknown.
No shit.
I've said several times in my comments here today that we, NASA, deal openly and we will be transparent on this. And we're trying to address the question of there's so much concern that there's something locked up, classified, and that the American government is not being open. Well, we are the American government, and we are open, and we're going to be open about this. We don't, again, I'm going to repeat that statement, but we don't know what these UAP are, but we're going to try to find out.
Okay, pause. Goddamn.
Thank you very much. And is there a plan in place?
Pause. Please. Listen. You heard what he just said? We don't know what these things is. The man told you you don't know. He asked you, how do you determine what it isn't? If you don't know what it is. All he told him is we didn't find and we don't know. We know you don't know. That's why he asked you the question. You see how he slick, ain't even answer this man. Okay. This is a waste of time. But okay. All right. You can let it go.
If it is determined that some of them represent or originate from a non-human intelligence, to tell the public? Is there a plan? Or
if we are what I said we intend to be, which is transparent, you bet your boots. We will say that. And I've tried to set the table for you by telling you what I personally believe in a universe.
Nobody asked him what he personally believed. This ain't about his personal belief. He's asking, is there a plan to tell the public what is going on if you should find something? And he's saying, well, you betcha, I personally believe so. That is a way to save yourself from saying yes. Because if you say, I personally believe, that's not a yes. If you say, I bet your bottom bootstraps, that's not a yes, sir. And if you're not on tape saying, yes, we will inform the public if there should be a finding that this is from a non-human source, that right there is a statement of admission. You telling me about bottom boots and your personal opinion is a way for you to get out of answering the question. Everybody ain't a fool. Not everybody. I know what that is. Asking me a yes or no question, but I give you an answer to which I didn't say yes, I didn't say no. So you can't come back and say later on that I said something that I didn't say. I said some more off the wall shit, and technically I didn't say yes or no. Like, that's what that is. But he wants to, obviously they want to sound smart, and they're not. But look, I digress. Smitty, what you got to say? Because I think after that, we can go to the next question if you want to skip to the next person. But go ahead, Smitty, if you got something to say.
You would have made an excellent lawyer. I'd have paid you time back.
Don't say that, Smitty.
You put that foot on their neck. You go for that shit.
Listen, I'm trying to be, you know I can be a little, unruly, and I'm trying to be professional with it right now. I'm trying to be professional. I'm trying to keep it 100 professional. I'm trying to make it hard.
Nah, you got that shit. Go ahead, rock out. I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
Okay. Mr. Best, if you want to go to the next question, if you want to scroll through, I think it's at 22:40, like maybe 40 seconds. Yeah, to him when he starts talking, the guy right there with the iPad. Yeah, him. Yeah.
Director of UAP research, have you named someone to that role? And what kind of investment are you considering making in this? Is this going to be a new program office? Have you thought of funding figures, etc.? Thanks.
Yes, we have. We've already appointed the person. They've been working there for a while now during this study to help be a point of contact.
So Mr. Best, just so everybody know what his question was, he asked her, did they appoint a director over this program for this study? Okay. And if so, essentially, where's the money coming from to do this? That's what he asked them. He said, what about funding? And we all know when news outlets ask the question of what about the funding, in layman's terms, that means, where the hell y'all getting money to do this? Because we strapped the shit last time y'all was talking. But okay, have you named a director? Watch what they say. Go ahead, let it play.
Any budget discussions, of course, are part of a very intricate federal budget request, and so they're not something that we discuss openly. But we will certainly look at what resources need to be allocated.
Okay, pause.
The official who's.
He's gonna ask her again. Have you named the official and what the official's name? But specifically, what she just said was yes, we have named an official, right? We have named a director. And our funding comes from federal funds, but it's a complicated process, right? That's not the answer to his damn question. He didn't ask you. Listen, when somebody asks you where the money coming from, the assumption is this is federal funds. So where's the money coming from? What part of the budget is the money being drawn from? That's a simple question. She gonna sit here and say it's a complicated process and we can't talk about it. But we can talk about pork barrel spending. We can talk about all this other spending that's declassified all over CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. Like we can talk about funding when it comes to that. that dumb shit. But we can't talk about funding when it comes to who is the director here and how are people being paid to do this study. Really? Such a simple question, and you can't say that? This is what I'm saying. This whole thing is people asking questions and them circumventing the damn question. But they look real smart up here. They look real smart. I like how smart they look. Like she said, we've appointed the question. We've appointed the person, but she didn't name the person. So it's like now he got to ask her a follow-up question. Because normally when you appoint someone, right, like an appointed position is usually listed like for the public to see. Usually, like I know when you work in government and you have an appointed position, that's a position of public trust. That's a position to which you serve at the pleasure of someone else. So that's not something that's hidden. So why hidden now? But keep in mind what that man, this guy in the red tie, said in the beginning. We are the government, and we are going to be transparent about this. I bet your bootstraps we're going to be transparent. She can't even say who's the director. Keep watching. Keep listening.
We will not give his name out there.
Thank you. We'll take another one from in the room.
Why don't you own
apartment she didn't even
buildings?
ask. Oh,
Seriously,
yeah,
why
yeah.
don't you own these big apartment buildings? And I get.
Hello, Dan Rivers from British broadcaster ITV News. I heard the word stigma mentioned several times, that you want to remove the stigma. Is your message to pilots and other people that this is no longer the preserve of cranks, and that you won't be laughed at, and that you will take them seriously? Is that the takeaway?
That is exactly the message. I mean, at NASA, we're
Okay, pause.
We love all.
Pause right here. Notice their body language to this question. He says, are you saying that pilots and people who report these things won't be laughed at and they won't be ridiculed by you because you're taking this serious? Notice, look, they look very serious, right? Nobody is acting like this ain't a thing. They're taking it very serious, right? Because that's what they just said. All he did is reiterate what they just said. But keep watching, right? You're going to notice later on, their posture is going to get a little different when we mention a specific report that came out, right? Credible report that came out. They notice the difference in how serious they take that, right? But right now, they want you to believe they taking this serious. Just keep the body language in play right here, because it's not just what they're saying; it's what they're not saying that tells me everything. But I just wanted to point that out so you guys can pay attention to that. But it can continue playing.
Data. And if there is something that needs to be reported, and we want people to be able to feel that they can report that. We spoke in the open hearing that we had here just a few months ago. Dan, remind me when it was? May 31st. And we actually talked then about we wanted to remove the stigma, and we also did not tolerate any of the abuse that some of our members of the panel were receiving, particularly on social media, for doing this really important scientific study. So absolutely, we want pilots and both, as Bill said, both private pilots, commercial pilots, military pilots, to feel that if they see something, they need to report it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, and I want to repeat the way I.
This nigga keep repeating shit, but go ahead.
About UAPs, from sensationalism to science.
I think.
Look what he just said. Hold on. Look what he just said. And I want y'all to really look what he just did. I want you to pay attention. He just said for the 4th time, we're trying to take this from sensationalism to science. He said that 4 times. This man did not ask him that. Nobody is saying anything about this is not being taken from serious. He's asking you essentially, how can the public know that you're going to keep your word and not create more ridicule around them for coming forward? Why do you have to say, we're trying to take this from science, from sensationalism to science? That's your job to investigate. He ain't asking you about your investigation. He's asking you about the credibility of your word to the American public, of which you have them hemmed up and twisted because there's been a lot of lies told in the past. That's what he asking him, but this dude want to sit and keep repeating himself. I guess he got an ego thing going on here. But again, don't keep watching these congressional meetings thinking that you looking at some people that's talking some high stuff that you can't understand. Listen to what they saying. This is some bullshit. Look at this. That you go ahead. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Would say, if you see something, say something. I think in this context, we would summarize it as, if you see something, collect high quality data on it. Then we can learn.
Collect high quality data.
I just noticed in the report the Go Fast incident was.
Okay, all I'm saying to this is this: what we already talked about. If you see something, collect high quality data, niggas. If you got Android phones, don't even try it. You only can collect data from the highest quality phones, according to them. That footage needs to be in 3D. It needs to be in 4, 5, 6K. And hold that camera still. I don't care how fast you need to whip it out. If it ain't whipped out fast enough, fuck you. Like, this is what they saying. High quality data. Like, you see something in the sky, you better be able to get up there, and because otherwise, don't report it. Like, just don't report it. So this is the trick bag. But listen to his follow-up question right here.
One that was picked out, and that had been held up as an example of a very credible sighting that you seem to be pouring doubt on. Can you just talk to that?
I mean, we looked at that as one example, and I think this is something that Arrow has actually done a very good job of going through the events. And most events are going to turn out, even if there are some events that in the end turn out to be something novel. Most events are going to turn out to be conventional things, balloons, airplanes, and so on.
And while you have that pause, Mr. Best, I just want people to be clear on his follow-up question, which is, there was a credible sighting that it was called the Go Fast sighting that was reported that this committee was actually looking at. And he said to them, you cast doubt on that credible sighting. So how are you telling me that you're essentially what he's saying is, if I see this committee casting doubt on some of the most credible findings that we have to date, how are you telling me that you're not ridiculing people for giving information when some of the highest quality data that you can collect, you will cast doubt on? Surely you will cast doubt on someone who doesn't have that level of technology to quote unquote record or test whatever the hell is going on out here, okay, in some imaginary universe. And this man is not going to address what they did. He's going to say any and everything that has nothing to do with what this man just asked him. Continue on.
I think of the process of discovery of anomalies.
Anybody ask him what he thinks?
Needle in a haystack. And if you want to find a needle in a haystack, you've got two choices. Either
you got never mind. Go ahead.
Looks like, and you design a very good filter to look for the needle. It's called match filtering in our machines or machine learning stick processing. Or you don't know what you're looking for. And with anomalies, that's really the case we're in. We're looking for things we don't understand.
We're looking for things we don't understand.
Find something strange in a haystack, you better know.
Do you see how frustrating this is?
And you better be
84. You can pause it. You can pause it because they're not going to answer the main question. You can pause it. This is frustrating. The whole reason why they're asking questions is because these people don't know what they're dealing with. Now, instead of answering this man's question and saying why they cast doubt on that credible source of information, he wants to talk about, well, not all sources are credible. We ain't talking about all. We're talking about this one. He's going to say, well, I think that's it. Nobody asked you what you think, sir. We're talking about this whole committee and this whole investigation. Fuck what you think. What is the data, nigga? You ain't talking about no data. He asked you about the data. You talking about what you feel, what you think, of which no one asked. So you basically trying to derail the question because you think everybody done. Okay, this right here is what's irritating. Like, you're not gonna get no straight answers out of these people. I think if you skip through to the next question, because I think they filibuster a little bit more here. You can skip through to the next question. I think that's around 27. Yeah, her. Go back a little bit. Yeah, just before she start right here. That's fine.
Normal events, and that's how we move things forward.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next question, please.
Hello, I'm Nomia Iqbal from BBC News. Just to follow up on the stigma question, UAP, that term has been, used in part to destigmatize UFOs. The fact is, most people use UFOs. Most of the American public, most of the world use that term. So I wonder, how much is the stigma still a problem for you, and what are you practically doing to about it, really, to convince people? And my second very quick question, in your report I noticed that you said AI is a very essential tool for identifying rare occurrences. Yesterday we were at this big AI summit where you had 100 senators meeting all the big tech tycoons, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg.
Wait, hold on. We can't skip over that part. We cannot skip over that part. We cannot skip over that part. Okay? Now, there's a reason why they're meeting up with Elon Musk and Zuckerberg, because they're the ones that not only control a lot of the, a lot of the things that you're seeing right now as in regards to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and all these other things, right? They control a lot of things socially, but they also control a lot of ways that you get around. We see Teslas everywhere, right? I mean, Teslas are damn near everywhere. I can't go anywhere without hearing that damn Tesla sound. Yeah, I know that sound I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Kind of like a little remote control car. But, before I continue, I'm taking quick calls for the pause. You know what I mean? Salute to Lost in Translation podcast. Salute. He said the data. He's laughing. Yes, it is funny, the supposed data, right?
Right.
So there's a reason why they met with these people. You know what I mean? They're not meeting with them just to kind of shoot the shit. They're meeting with them because they know that they have to keep them in line, and informed about what's really going on. You know what I mean? Because these people control, like I said, they control the social media. You know what I mean? And they also control the way that we get around and what we do in our day-to-day lives. So, you know what I mean? That's why meeting up with Zuckerberg and Musk and all these guys, and trust me, they're down with the shits too. Okay, don't think that they're innocent or that they like you or whatever. They don't. Okay, but they have found a way to inch themselves into your life, right? Yeah, and I've noticed this. Like, dang, like I'm using the things that these guys have on a regular basis. As soon as she said, I'm like, I use Instagram a lot. I use YouTube a lot. I use Facebook a lot. Twitter comes up on my feed a lot. These guys control these things. I'm like, yo, so if they control these things and I'm watching it often, then, they're impacting my life in ways that maybe I'm not fully even aware of, right? They're programming me in ways that maybe I can't fully see. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
We can continue.
So we can continue because she was in the middle of her thought.
And speaking to some senators afterwards, they said, we are concerned about AI. We need it to be regulated. Does that concern you? Or are you worried that it might hamper your work? Thank you very much.
I have actually gone up to strangers and asked them about their legs. And
well, two big questions. First of all, do I personally believe that AI needs to have some boundaries? The answer to that for our existentialism, yes. Can you do that within the appropriate bounds so that, as I said in my remarks, that we're going to utilize AI as one of the tools as we search for what is an answer to the UAP. And so, no, I don't think that any attempts to that the Congress has underway to try to write a law that would appropriately put guardrails around AI for other reasons is in any way going to inhibit us from utilizing the tools of AI to help us in our quest on this specific issue. Now, what was your...
Okay, so she asked, that was actually her second question. She asked, are you worried that AI will hamper your work, meaning the regulation of artificial intelligence will hamper your work? Now, he's saying that he doesn't think it will. Again, the question isn't so much what you think. The question is if the U.S. Congress is voting on laws that prohibit certain types of AI to be used, when to use AI, how to use AI, certain technology can't be given to certain people, this, that, and the third. How is that impacting what you're doing? He's not saying what he really should be saying, which is we're the government. We do what we want to do. The fact we can do what we want to do up here. Y'all worry about what y'all doing down there. He ain't saying that because that's not politically expedient to say we the government. Before he said that, he said we are the government and we're going to be transparent. That's what he said, quote, in the beginning. But right now he don't feel the need to say we are the government. We at the top. We do what we want to do with AI. Not that he's going to explain how he's figuring how they going to use AI to investigate something beyond what their latest AI can really do. Never mind that. I'll forgive that. But I just noticed what he ain't saying right now. That this is what's really strange. But if let him go on and answer her first question, which is about the destigmatization. I think it's interesting how he danced around that. But go ahead. You can press play.
No other question.
Just how do you destigmatize the whole thing? Because I know you call it UAPs, but people don't refer it to in that way.
Yeah. Well, there's a mindset. We all are entertained by Indiana Jones in the...
Are you serious? She asked them essentially, why did you choose to change the name? And he's saying there's a mindset. The term UFO stands for unidentified flying object. That is a term that the U.S. government used in their own reporting system several decades ago. That is not something, that's not a mindset of people, UFO. It just stands for unidentified object in the sky. There's a lot of them, right? So why in the world did you change it to aerial phenomena, which essentially, takes it beyond you flying object, if you want to be frank with you, okay? Why? That's what she's asking. If you're destigmatizing this thing, why not respect the term UFO? Why change it to something, right? And leave UFO to be, whatever. Meanwhile, you're talking about the same thing. So what's going on? That's what she's really trying to get at with him. And he's saying there's a mindset essentially under UFO. Now, he's not really saying that because he goes into Indiana Jones, and I don't know what the fuck that got to do with anything. Does anybody know what Indiana Jones got to do with anything here?
I believe it was a scene where he found some alien-like stone. I think it was in part 2.
Oh, so essentially this man in the red tie is making fun right now.
Possibly. Keep your foot on. Yeah, keep your foot on their neck though. Keep it going.
Okay, because he's squirming, and I'm getting tired of holding his ass. But okay, go ahead, 84. Let his ass be.
Let me get to the Brothers Lost in Translation podcast comments. He says social engineering. Okay. He says this brand of AI has training wheels on it. All right, interesting. He said the real AI is being used on the stock market. They don't want us to have that version of AI. Of course not. You know, Mark is giving a shout out to Lost Translation Podcast. Okay. He also said AI as a wealth transfer model is the elephant in the room. Gave a salute back to Marcus. He said because they have submersible, unidentified objects that they don't want us to talk about. We kind of covered that a little bit too when we were talking about, you know, what was underneath the sea. And Lost Translation Podcast, you see the link, you know, in the chat. You are welcome to come up. Anybody's welcome to come up if you like, and definitely share your expertise. The video is almost done. And you never know, we may get shut down out of nowhere. You know, they like to shut us down out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So the outro may drop just literally out of nowhere. Maybe in the middle of a video. You never know.
Yeah. Lost in translation. That is, I think what you're saying is spot on. However, that was the lady's question. That was her second question, which is, essentially to them, if the government is putting all these regulations on this technology so that people won't get it, right? Or certain people won't get it, right? How does that impact their investigation? Now, the man could have said, well, as the government, right, we hold the right to use technology that's not available or made available to the public. We hold the right to do that. He could have been honest. He could have been transparent. Okay? He could have done a lot of things, but instead he just wants to filibuster and act like he's saying no, but not really. He sat there and said he don't believe so, as if anybody gives a damn about what he believed. The lady asked him a very pointed question based on something that actually happened that we can go back to, the meeting in reference to Congress talking about this issue over regulating AI. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck they regulate because I haven't been keeping up with them Negroes. But the thing is, we can point back to that. She asked him, "Is this gonna affect your study your study of extraterrestrial life if that is the case?" He don't want to answer yes or no. So I think what you said has a lot to do with what he's talking about in reference to if you start using AI, right, to investigate and you tell the public what AI you using, they're going to want to know, well, why we don't have access to that AI? What's going on? So you see how he's answering, right? But there's a lot of politics in what he is not saying, but yet they're claiming right here they're being the most transparent. It's like, I could have done a better job at hiding shit than him and answering the damn question. These people, you know what? I don't know if he got a high school diploma, but if he do, he faked that shit. But go ahead.
Amazon and finding the crystal skull. So there's a lot of folklore out there. That's why we entered the stage, the arena, to try to get into this from a science point.
I think you can blame the X-Files for a lot of this as well.
Hold on, don't name drop out. Don't name drop out. You know what I mean? The OG show, all right. The X-Files, all right. The reason why we do this. How you gonna drop the OG show? Salute to Mulder and Scully, the original.
She's trying to be sarcastic because we already know that the X-Files actually is the show that brought this conversation to the public in a real way on an entertainment platform. It wasn't Indiana Jones like his dumb ass act like he wanted to throw up in there. So she figured, oh, you gonna throw Indiana Jones in there? No, let's throw the real reason why you talking crazy. It's talking about them X-Files. That's what it really got. What's this stuff started? Damn.
The original. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's what got it popping, and that is why we do this show today. And we got some. We may delve into that. We were supposed to delve into that a while ago, but we'll get to that momentarily.
Right.
So, Listen Podcast says they don't want to reveal the source because it may be security for risk. That is true as well. We talked about that earlier. It may endanger, security of society. He also says he's using misdirection now to avoid the question. Marcus also says, don't disrespect Harrison Ford, the OG Han Solo, the OG Blade Runner. Shake my head. Marcus, I don't know where you been, man, but dang, man, pull up, man. Let us know you still here with us, man. I ain't seen you on a panel in a minute. I don't know what's going on or where you been, but man, come up if you can, man. Please, we love to hear your voice, man, and definitely, you share perspective. Anybody willing to come up, definitely, we will love it. But yeah, let's continue the video. Let's get it.
That possibly too, but just remember what I said. We NASA are trying to shift it from sensationalism to science.
Can you shut up about that?
I have a long line in the room, but I want to give a couple chances to some people on the phone line. So I'm going to go to the phone for our first question there. Please do introduce yourself and ask the question.
Man, there you go. Hey, what's going on, bro?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, where have you been, man?
I've been in and out of these spaces, bro, but I just been handling some stuff out, outside of the internet, these work and family and stuff. So that's just it.
Definitely, man. Hey, salute to you, man. I'm glad you pulled up, man. Anything you want to build on real quick?
No, I just want to say what's up to everybody. I want to say what's up to Lola. I know she's Lola, so she's always gonna be Lola. And Smitty, and then I just want to say shout out to you as well, Mr. Best, and Three and all of them, and everybody who rocks with us over here. And definitely, as far as this goes, though, the whole NASA and the whole UFO thing, a lot of stuff's been happening a lot more lately. A lot more things have been popping up within, this verse, our Earth, the atmosphere, what we're able to see. So, whatever they're putting out there for the media for us to see, I think some of it's already premeditated. I think some of it's already being designed for us to seeing how we'll react, seeing how they probably already assume we'll react. And they don't really want us to really know what I think is already hidden. It's going to stay hidden. I think what they want to just do is they want to still keep airing like little hints and little drops there. Photos and videos, some things that have already been shown to be like legitimate, others things that have been debunked. So who knows, man? Who knows anymore?
Man, let's continue. Oh, go ahead, Smitty.
I got a question when y'all are done. I'll wait till the video over.
Yeah, because so the video about to be done. Let me continue the video. Let's get it.
The phone, can you hear me?
Our first question is from Marcia Dunn with the Associated Press. Your line is open.
Yes, hi, Marcia Dunn, AP. I'm already receiving emails on Area 51 in Roswell, so I would like to ask Mr. Spergel.
Notice the smirk. Notice the smirk on their face when look at this. Look how happy they is. Look at this. But the guy just asked him from BBC News, "Are you taking this serious?" Right? She said, "I've been getting calls about Area 51." Now we already know that Area 51 probably isn't still in Mexico or New Mexico, wherever it was at. Right? We know that, but that's not to say that what happened there didn't happen. That's not to say that that's not part of their investigation, right? So why are they laughing? That's not high quality information.
The devil always smiles.
This is
he always flashes a smile. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most craziest murderers and gangsters and all of these, they will smile. They smiled all the time, but they will take you up out of this earth quickly. You know what I'm saying? But I think this is a big thing too that people just have to recognize. If you look at the weather, like even out here in California, Marcus knows this as well. Right now, California, our weather is experiencing heat, especially during this time, which we should have been not even experiencing at this moment. Our temperature should have dropped by now. Should have been maybe about 72, 73 at most. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't even been this hot. But now, man, we our weather seems like we still in the middle of summer. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And periodically, yeah, we're bipolar weather. Yeah, periodically we'll get we'll get like rain or whatever. But nah, man, it's crazy. This weekend it kind of rained a little bit, but this week is gonna like I told you earlier, Lola. This week is gonna be hot like fire out here. It's gonna be crazy. You know what I mean? Lost Relation Podcast says they know nothing in Area 51 anymore. Okay.
No, I agree with you, Lost in Translation. They do know there's nothing there, but the issue is they were asked a question by BBC News. Are they taking this investigation serious? Meaning any and all information that's being given or has been given to the government or any local government about whatever these things are, these flying aerial phenomena, are they taking it serious? And they answered squarely, well, you bet your bottom bootstrap we are. That's what they said, bottom bootstrap, right? Okay. So if that's the case, why the smirks? It's a legitimate question. What's going on with Area 51? They could have been transparent, right? And said, there's nothing in Area 51 right now for us to investigate since the incident that was reported back in the 1950s. They could have been transparent to say this is not a part of our investigation, or it is, and we didn't find anything. But for them to turn and smirk at it, this is what I'm talking about. The stigmatization of reporting to the government when something happens or you see something, it's still there no matter what the hell they talking about. Look at their faces. Look at their faces. Look at it. That ain't me. Look at that face. Look at that face.
Salute to the homie. Big Gears Composition. What's going on? What's going on? Salute, salute, salute. Let me continue the video.
When your fellow panel members hassled or bombarded by this sort of thing during the course of your study? And for NASA, are you not naming the director of UAP research for this very reason, so that they're not hassled and bombarded by the fringe element? Thanks.
No, I would divide kind of emails and tweets into two types, right? There's some where people honestly are curious about things they've seen, they've heard. There are things that are hard to respond to, like my uncle who's dead saw something strange, and you get a report. And that's not useful, but that's harmless. On the other hand, one of the things that happened during the study.
So here's the thing, right? And this is what I'm saying. He said, for the example, someone reports that their dead uncle seen something, right? That's not useful. Well, isn't this the same entity that said that the footage from the U.S. naval officers weren't useful? We have footage from pilots, like commercial air pilots, footage that's not useful. The reports from the 1950s, that's not useful. So essentially, nothing's useful. Nothing's useful. That's what they're really saying here. But they want you to believe they did an investigation on what? These aerial phenomena are being reported to move at speeds that we can't comprehend. What did you investigate? Because you damn sure didn't catch one. What did you investigate, sir? Are you blowing smoke up my ass or your ass? Which one? I would like to know. Just be transparent with me. I can handle it. I just want to know. Smitty, don't look like that. I just want to know.
And this may be part of a bigger discussion of cultural behavior on social media, where people behave badly, and I would say harassed some of our panel members. And that, I think, was very inappropriate behavior one doesn't want to see. Sadly, I think it's part of a deeper problem when people somehow feel on the web, on social media, they can be nasty and hostile, and sadly, some of our panel members experience that.
Yeah, I would just simply.
But hold on. That's not what he asked him. That's not the question. The question is the reason you haven't stated who the director of this program is because you're trying to shield them from the public, from public ridicule. Yes or no? He sits there and says some of our panel members have been ridiculed through social media. How is that the answer to the question of the director not being named? You see how, like, blowing sunshine? I don't care what he blowing. This is the bullshit that he blowing. Okay, he's not answering not one question. Have any of these people answered, let alone straight? Not one question. I like, this is all bullshit. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. There was something that was said 10 minutes from now. I think, yeah, at the 45 minute walk. That I was like, all right, it was about data sharing, right? It was a question at the, with her with the glasses. If you go to the beginning of her with the glasses and watch that response, I have something in reference to that, but I just couldn't figure out the right.
Thank you.
Hi, Brandy Vincent from Defense Scoop. Thank you all for doing this. I actually have 2 lines of questions, if it's okay. First, for Ms. Fox, what's the timeline and
She's like a 7.
that NASA is pursuing specifically with Arrow now that the report has been completed? And what mechanisms are NASA and DoD really using to share information and collaborate securely? And do you see more coming? And then separately, for Mr. Spergel, I noticed in the final report, a lot of the images and media that were added were from DoD, snapshots that we've previously seen from DoD data. Not much from FAA, if anything, not from other agencies. Can you speak to why that is? And what all you used beyond DoD to inform your report?
Dr. Fox, Dr. Spergel, I'll pass to you guys.
Sure. So, yes, our immediate actions, I think that there was such a lot in those questions. So the immediate actions, we've established our director of UAP research. They're working across the whole of government. They're working very closely with Arrow. They are the sort of central point for all of the collaboration. I'm not sure what else you asked. I'm sorry.
What mechanisms are you using to share data and information?
No, I was just gonna say she answered the question that was the lady with the glasses asked her 3 questions. The first reference to the timeline that they have for this investigation, the mechanisms that they use to share data between NASA and Department of Defense, DoD. And the third question was, why is it y'all only using images from the DoD and nowhere else in your investigation? What's up with that? Now, these are 3 separate questions. I don't know what the fuck she just said. She didn't even listen to any of the questions. Now they got to reiterate the question. But here's the thing. These motherfuckers passed English 101 in college, though. They want you to believe that. And got this job. That's what they want you to believe. Right. Okay. So now she's back to what mechanisms do you have in place for NASA to share information with DoD? Let me tell you something, right? On this channel, we discussed this was several months ago when we talked about JFK and the real reason why he was assassinated that had everything to do with data sharing between Congress, DoD, and NASA at the time. Okay? When he signed that law that forced the CIA to ensure that data was turned over from the DoD themselves to NASA, that's when it was ordered that Lancer, okay, whatever his nickname was, he was doing too much. It had nothing to do with Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. It had everything to do with whoever was in charge up there. They felt like, you don't have clearance to tell us what to do, man, sir, whatever your name is. You don't got that clearance. Now, that might have been true. I'm not taking that away from him. The president does not have the highest clearance, so don't get me wrong, okay? But still, This is what her question is right now. How are you ensuring that data is being transported between these two entities, whereas there's not, for instance, Department of Defense holding data from NASA and NASA thinking that they're conducting a full investigation based on partial information? How is this committee committed to ensuring that data is free flowing between those two entities? This woman is going to sit and take you around Robin Hood's bomb. That's what she finna do. But go ahead.
Information with the Defense Department.
All mechanisms available to us. As Dan eloquently said, all of our data are open and public. So actually, I mean, we share everything with everybody, so everybody can access our NASA data.
I mean, do you have like a specific repository or mechanism?
It's hard to let them talk.
Or channel specifically with DoD where you're sharing information. Can you just expand a little on how Aero and DoD are working? So Aero and NASA are working so deeply to share things.
Sure. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to handle that. So as Nikki beautifully said, all of NASA's data is open and accessible to the public.
That shit again.
If DoD on a specific instance need to tap our expertise, then there are obviously secure ways of doing that, and we've done that by appointing our liaison officer. And yes, we know how to talk to DoD in a classified space. But again, most of what we do is unclassified. And for good reason.
We talk in a classified space, but what we do is unclassified. Make it make sense. That's just on the mechanisms, which we already know that y'all talk. She didn't ask, do you talk to NASA? Do you talk to DoD? She didn't ask you, do you talk? She said, what are the mechanisms that you're employing to ensure that conversation in terms of information sharing? See, this is what I'm talking about. They act like everybody done. Like everybody really don't know what information sharing is. This is what I'm saying. I after this, I couldn't watch, but go ahead. We can rock out. But after this, I really didn't have much. I lost it right here.
The lead agency in the government. So FAA reported events go to Aero. So they're the central collection agency, and that actually go to the Aero site. They have a pretty complete list of things they've analyzed and are trying to make public.
I.e., you don't know. Gotcha.
Though with Aero, and this is just something I think is worth repeating in the context of looking at images that come from military satellites, intelligence community. It's important to remember that images taken by military instruments are classified.
Okay.
Not because of what's in the image, but because of the nature of the measuring instrument. And I think this is one of the unique things that NASA brings here. NASA is about openness and transparency. When NASA makes measurements, NASA has across all of it does, this program of making its data open and available. And of course, because it's not making measurements with classified instruments, that enables it to do this. And that one of the things that NASA brings to this space.
Thank you. And just a really quick clarification.
Oh my God. So okay. All right. And this is the part where it's kind of new to me because I didn't watch it. She's asking why the use of DoD. He goes into only images from the DoD. He goes into the fact that DoD images are classified. That did not answer the question of why are you only using DoD? She didn't say, well, why are you using classified documents? She's saying, why is it the only source of information you have is from one source when there's more than one source of information? But you're here talking about high quality information. I don't know if you're looking for quality, let alone highness. But she's not asking him why are you using classified information, right? She's saying, why is DoD the only source? Telling me that DoD's classification system and why does not tell me why you use only that. But if you're trying to insinuate that we only use classified documents, that tells me that you're not really open for business in terms of transparency, in terms of real investigation. You're only there to do what you've been doing. That's what that is. So here's the thing. You don't want to say that's what you're doing, but you can't say why you're only using one source of information, which is the epitome of not doing an investigation. Now, Smitty, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but if the police only ask one witness, what the hell is going on when there's several witnesses? Like, even if the witnesses all don't remember, asking one witness is like that is you not doing your damn job. And I mean, I don't know. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, that definitely would be considered. There have been a lot of cases that have been absolutely destroyed because there was evidence that was either discarded, evidence that was lost, or just evidence that they never ever looked at. That was key factors and pieces. So no, you're on point with that. If you're going to be a good detective, you go from everything from a cigarette butt to a piece of gum that's around that crime scene. You don't let anything, you don't just look for large splats of blood and bullet casings or something. It's all kinds of things all around that will indicate and give you keys and clues as to what's going on. There have been people who have been convicted because they spit out a piece of gum or a cigarette butt on the crime scene and got convicted years later. So you never want to discard any information when you're talking about something extremely detrimental such as this. So you're on point. I digress. My mic is muted.
And I haven't seen this part of the film or whatever. And I mean, if you guys want to watch it, you can. But I haven't seen this part. So this is all new to me. But I'm just hearing her question. And again, why these people just can't answer?
The NASA Aero liaison, is that official, the same as your new UAP head of research?
Yes. Thank you. All right, one more in the room before we go back to the phones for a couple.
Moving forward requires knowing what's on the road ahead. As energy demand continues to rise, we're increasing our U.S. oil and gas production and aiming to do it responsibly so everyone can follow their own road. That's energy in progress.
Thank you. My name is Jacob Jensen. I work for a Danish newspaper called Berlingske. My question is for Mr. Nelson. You said at the beginning of the meeting that that NASA will be transparent. Well, a month and a half ago, Mr. David Grush said under oath in Congress that the U.S. government is in possession of UAPs and extraterrestrial life. How can you be sure at NASA that other parts of the U.S. government is being transparent?
I don't speak for other parts of the government, but I can tell you NASA, which I speak for, is open and transparent with our data.
See, Paul. This right here is the high quality data that we talking about. He just said that a U.S. official has just literally on tape made clear what they are in possession of. Yet you're telling me you're investigating if this even exists. But you want to sit here and tell, well, I only speak for NASA and we's over here. We is transparent about everything, even though we ain't answered a damn thing tonight. This is the shit that I'm talking about. Stop thinking these people, just because they in these suits and stuff and they make like $200,000-$300,000 a year talking this bullshit, that they above you in any way. They are not, as you can clearly see. That man gave him a source of information that was high quality. He just skipped right over that shit. What are we doing?
Or is he lying?
You would want me to give a personal opinion?
Yes, please.
Hold on. Now he don't want to give his personal opinion. Now he don't want to give his personal opinion. Was he not on here saying personally? I think was he? Smitty, tell me I'm lying. Tell me I am the devil.
Keep going, counsel. Keep going. Keep going, counsel.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. This dude was just up here talking about me personally. Well, I think now that he asked him, do you think this man is lying? Your fellow congressman is lying? He was like, oh, no, you can't ask me what I think. All right, y'all. See, this is why I turned this shit off. Like, I didn't even listen to it because this was, I can't do this. I can't do this when I'm actually trying to get information. But I'm glad they came out and showed their hand, though. I ain't gonna lie. This was interesting. But this is why I don't got time for these niggas. This right here. I don't got it.
Yeah. Wow. She said what she said. Smitty had a question, so we get to his question. You know what I'm saying? Smitty, rock out, man. What's your question?
Right now, the court is in recess. So, yeah. All right. So this. All right. So I got.
My bad. Real quick. My bad. Salute the Gospel Spice Podcast. Salute.
So I got two questions. I'm gonna ask this one first. Let's just say, because this is how I look at things, right? I look at things to a technology, technological things. So let's say they're hiding these things from us. Let's say we actually have come across alien technology, the whole nine. What would you say are some things that would actually be, let's say, alien-like technology that we have, that we use today, that a lot of people may wonder, how does this, where did this come about? So, for example, if I was to look at anything that I would say is like alien technology that's in our face, I would say like solar panels. Out of nowhere, solar panels just bust out. If you really think about how these things work, how all of that, I would say if there's anything that's, that possibly is something that we have gathered information from, will be like that. Satellites, however we figured out how to get them in position, how to get them to zoom in, excavate the land, the whole nine. And even down to cell phones, like our internet, this whole Wi-Fi thing. I think a lot of these things just up out of nowhere, just really, really boosted our civilizations, are just like small things that I believe that technology of alien-like sources in our face. And I would say the last thing is probably dark matter, antimatter. That's primarily what they use to make nukes with and stuff. So I don't know, but that's what I got. Do you all feel as if there's anything in our face that is used today that can be considered alien-like technology? Or do you really think that people are just that damn smart?
I'll say this, right? I think that, how should I say this? I think there are some companies, right, that have implemented certain technologies that are getting them hella paid, right? But like you said, they're small. They're not like overt. Like, now I don't know which ones there is, because there is some level of ingenuity that has came from humans just being constantly testing and all of that, right? However, I'll be honest with you. This question of propulsionary systems seems to be on everybody's mind, every tycoon, everybody's mind. Now, I know that if the U.S. government reverse engineered anything that they came in contact with from outer space, right, in terms of non-propulsionary vehicles,
yep,
this
That's
would
exactly
be
what it is.
this would be a problem with any company putting this type of technology on the market, simply because you're talking about taking away millions, if not trillions of dollars from the certain industries, like the oil industry. There's so many industries that rely on propulsionary systems in terms of it working, that you have to actually gradually phase that out so that everybody can get a piece of the pie. If you tell everybody you can get free energy for your house, for your car, for your cell phone, you don't gotta worry about paying for nothing, there's a lot of industries that's going to tank overnight. So they're not going to do that, but they will phase stuff in that they do have. Now, I do think that there's more technology on a genetic level happening that might be extraterrestrial than not. For instance, there's technology now that they can use to regrow body parts, right? Now, they still haven't quite figured that out. But they have that, right? Regenerative, what they call it,
nanotechnology.
Nanotechnology to basically regenerate body parts, right? Now, this is coming off of, remember back in the day when they would say we would use a pig's liver or pig's heart in yours. Now, they just can grow you a heart. They don't need to kill the animal, right? So it's like, you talking about less than 10 years, we went genetically from 100 years, more than 100 years of operations to now you just growing shit for no apparent reason, just growing every goddamn thing. Meanwhile, we running out of food.
Well, not even that. We can't even get vegetables with seeds in it no more. Fruits and stuff, seeds in it, you know. But yeah, y'all can grow organs. Nah, I get what you're saying on that.
I can't find a grape with a seed in it to save my life right now.
I haven't seen one of those since I was like 12. I was talking about that the other day.
I'm just saying, like, I already know something's going on. I know something going on, but I can't prove it. Because I'll be honest with you, them corporations and them lobbyists, they got good sense. They don't talk much. Not publicly, anyway.
I gotta take a course to the pause and say this. If you are what you say you are,
oh my God.
Then have no fear. Simon's here. Simon, what's going on, baby? I've been seeing your face everywhere. Now let me say something. I'm gonna be clear on this, okay? I've been watching everybody drop little things about my man Simon. All right, and there's a reason why I'll pull up, because with me, if I'm gonna address somebody, I'm gonna do it directly.
Right.
If I want to address anything that Simon does, I hit him directly. He knows this. And he said me directly. You know what I'm saying? So there's a reason why I haven't pulled up to none of y'all shows, and I haven't said anything about whatever's going on with him and whoever that YouTuber is, because I'm not even going to mention their name. Now, because I'm focused on what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But Simon knows, when I want to address him, I address him directly. You know what I mean? So, and there's no hate to anybody if you want to address them indirectly or directly or whatever.
All I'm gonna say is, here we go. Here we go.
Yo, Simon, what's going on,
Here
man?
we go.
Yo, I'm here, brother. I'm just saying, I send, yo, you go first, bro, because, you know what's going on in the background. You know, you go first. Please address me.
And that's a nice picture too, Simon. That's a nice picture. Well, I mean, listen, you know, hey, people got to make their rounds. A lot of people have sent me DMs about, you know, your pull up with that infamous YouTube and different things, and you know, and I appreciate all of it. I appreciate all of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it's been, I guess, entertaining for some. For me, I knew exactly what you were saying the whole time. I knew exactly what you was talking about the whole time. I knew exactly what you was doing, because you know what I mean? We've had that kind of, you know, discussion before, and you tested me. You know what I mean? And you know, just to see where I was at, and I had to let you know where I was at, and we was all good from there. It was all good after that, with no problems. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I understand what you're doing. Keep up the good work. You know what I'm saying? And continue to be you, man, for real. Continue to be you in all forms and factions. You know what I mean? Inebriated and not inebriated, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, do your thing, man.
Yeah, people think what they want to think, and that's cool. You know that I am who I am, and the fact of the matter is like these people want to be out here and going, oh yeah, you're this, you're that, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, cool. I literally come on YouTube at night when most of these people have platforms in the daytime and the afternoon and all the rest of it. Okay, I play along with it. Okay, all right, we'll see. Kendra G ain't gonna be the first or the last. Like I'll tell you that, man. I got some shit planned. You don't even fucking recognize it. Come on, bro. We know what the fuck's going on. Like I pick people around me who I think are smart enough to understand what the fuck's going on. That's what's going on. Lola, you see when that lady come up? You see when she come up?
I heard through the grapevine. I'm not really aware.
Wait. Queen Maker. You see when she came up on that dude's channel? Did you see when that happened? You were there, right?
What channel? You talking about We On Lock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen when she came up.
Yeah.
So Queen Maker works for NASA. Queen Maker works for NASA. I thought we were talking about something here. I did too. Just trying to stay on track here.
I did too.
Just trying to stay on track.
Simon, you are a brilliant person, way more brilliant than people know. And I know this because you are Aries, and I'm an Aries as well. So we do things that people don't understand, but we have a plan the whole goddamn time. There's a plan that we have the whole time. People just don't understand. But so that's why we get along very, very well as well. You know what I mean? But I know there are times when you do things just to do them, and I get why you're doing them. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense a lot, but to me, when I'm watching, I'm like, this motherfucker's doing this because it is, and they don't even know. But why you do this shit?
Nah, this is the thing about me and you. That's the thing. It's like I've never met someone like you before. Like, so it's like when I met you in the first place, I was like, nigga, Jesus Christ, like this dude is like my brother. Like, so I ain't even playing. You get what I'm saying? So anything he's gonna say to me, I'm gonna respect. And the fact of the matter is like, if you need to understand this sort of stuff about the intellectual soapbox, he's got some. He understands what he's doing. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's cool. You may not really understand what I'm doing, man. I don't want you to right now, because I'm still trying to figure out for myself. That's what's going on. So when it hits you, it's gonna hit you. And like, if you actually go to my channel, when he hit me, he hit me. I was just like, yo, bro, what are you doing on my channel? Like, all right, yo.
Simon, did you just say that it's not for you to really understand what I'm saying right now, because I'm still trying to figure that out myself? Did I hear that correct?
Yeah. Smith.
I was just checking. I was just okay. Rock out. Just checking on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Smith is something else, man. Jesus Christ.
I was making sure I wasn't tripping. I just, it's late. I could have been a quick glitch. I was just making sure.
I bounced out for 2 seconds. So, okay, Smith, you can talk.
No, I was hoping that was part of your plan. Sleep that shit off. I was hoping that was part of your plans. I swear.
Oh, really? Are you talking to me? Are you really talking to me?
I hope you go sleep it off, sir.
Why?
You've been up online talking about sucking toes and ass and shit, bro. Go sleep that shit off, son. Go sleep it off.
Why do you think I need to sleep it off, bro?
Just
Okay, Simon. Okay, Simon. Keep it. Just
No,
we-
wait. No, I'm speaking
Oh,
to Smitty.
Congress,
No,
right.
wait. Lola, stop for a second. I'm speaking to Smitty, and he's got a big mouth. So why do you think I need to sleep it off, bro? I'm listening to you and your big mouth. Why do you think I need to sleep it off?
I digress. My mic is muted.
Yeah, your mic is fucking muted. Go to bed yourself, bro. Fuck you. What the fuck you talking about, you stupid motherfucker? Why do you feel like you're so privileged? Like, you come on panels and you talk the utmost nonsense about how you understand.
Simon, you know I don't do disrespect, baby. Okay? You got to try this next time. Now, you had another question, Smitty, so go ahead. I'm here for it.
I said here it come. I said here it come. And all I was saying was the distraction. But all right, so let's get to it, right?
Right.
We were actually having a very wonderful discussion. I was very much so listening to counsel up here. You know, my man Soapbox dropped his point in there. I mean, so let's go ahead and keep that energy going. So my thing is this, right? So why is the government, like, why are they, in your opinion, because they're doing this multiple countries, Switzerland, CERN, why do you think that they're trying to develop a portal? And do you think that we're trying to go into a portal, or do you think they're trying to let something in here? Because they are real deal doing everything they can to create an interdimensional portal that literally, like on shows. And that's the thing that I noticed real quick, as far as like, there's a lot of stuff on movies, shows, cartoons, everything, you know, just like how I believe he was talking about it not too long ago, as far as how long ago was it that we were looking at like little 00 agents talking on watches, and is that not what's in our face today? We actually remember the days where we would see that on TV, but it wasn't out. People in the and did not have that. And now that's a normal, that's regular. Apple Watch, whatever. That's such a basic thing. So the whole thing is, when it comes to like this portal, like, why possibly do you think that they're trying to do that, and why are they hiding that? Why is that something that they don't want people to know about? Why do the workers have to travel to work underground?
There can, in my opinion, right, there's a couple different ways you can think about the reason for that, right? You can think about the reason being, for instance, the U.S. government can't stop beings from coming through portals, right? Therefore, they're trying to understand the portal itself and to see if they can go back through too, because it's almost like, well, if they're coming here, why can't we go there, right? Because the government's like that. They want to experiment and figure out stuff, right? It's just the nature of human beings, especially a human government. Or we can look at it through the lens of, well, the government might have a covert mission to see if somebody needed to leave this space for whatever reason, do we have a way out? And I mean a way out for a certain elite to get out. For instance, like if there's a national emergency, right? Underground, there's whole worlds that we have built underground for specific people only to get under there so that they can be safe on this planet until we get to a place where we can have cities in the sky and don't have to live on the actual Earth's surface. We don't have to if something happens, right? As far as portals are concerned, I think portals is a phenomena that, you know, exists, right? But the government doesn't really understand them, right? So whatever's coming through, the government just wants to control, Like they just want to control it. Like it's basically the same idea, just want to control that, understand that, stop it, or let whatever you want through or whatever. But it's about control, not necessarily maybe using it, but just controlling it in general.
Well, from what I understand from a little bit of information I got is they are trying their best to, like, I guess you can say, in a sense, recreate a black hole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They believe that black holes they go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing about it is that, like a lot of things, you know, the human body, we're not capable of being able to be transferred to certain places due to body conditioning. So I think it's something like if you know, once you reach the top, I forgot what it's called. Damn, that name is slipping. But like a black hole basically is stretch your body like miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It doesn't just suck you in, like as you in, the force of it is so strong it actually stretches you. So they know that there are a lot of things that when it comes to transferring, and they've even tried to teleport insects, animals. They always either come out exploded, like just splattered, or they come out deformed, irregular. And so they're not going to test that on us because you try to go somewhere and of course you can just wound up splatting. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on. But the main reason why I'm saying that is because I recognize how with our government, how these people was up here like, you know, pussying around. There's a whole lot of shit that they actually are testing on, that they actually are working on. Now, the reason why it's so scary is for us is because we don't know what the purpose or what it is that they're working on. And that's the part that can be scary, because how do we know that they're not working on something that really can be annihilation of humanity? Like, we don't know, you know what I mean? So, but I can tell you this much, it's a lot of shit going on. Don't let them people fool you. They just don't like how they was ducking the questions because they're not supposed to answer them. Like, it's like this, right? Say me and you, we were supposed to meet up and do something, and this was like the 5th time I've stood up, folks. You like, Smitty, where you been? And like, I never answered a question. I never, you know, at some point y'all gonna be like, we know that it's something going on with Smitty. You probably can't figure out exactly whatever it is, but the fact is, I will never tell you what's going on with me and shit like that. Like, no, that's absolutely positively a key factor indication that there is an answer. You're just making sure that you don't give the answer for whatever reason that you have for that. I mean, the fact is, it ain't just the FBI, CIA, and all the names that we know. There are multiple shadow organizations throughout the world. It's not just our country, our government. You're talking about something that's much bigger than just our one government. This is like a world alliance thing when you're talking about these type of things. And that ain't no real big secret, because they make a lot of this stuff known and put it in our face. But they put it in our face because they know that majority of people will turn around and reject it anyway. They're going to reject it because it's so blatant in their face that they'll actually take it for not being real.
That's facts. That is facts right there. I mean, I can't even put it no plainer than that. Yeah. I mean, and you know what? Here's the thing, right? I would assume that the government wanting to control something, right, would be for the purposes of protecting life, liberty, and property here or wherever a government is. However, I noticed that they tend to want to use their military for experiments. Meaning, for instance, and Mr. Best, you might be aware of this experiment that happened where there was this ship off the coast, East Coast here, where they ran this experiment where the ship disappeared with the naval officers on it and then reappeared someplace else. And Philadelphia experiment where their bodies was inside the ship and people died when the ship came back, like the ship manifested back, right? So here's the thing. What that tells us is things can disappear and reappear and still be intact. These people, although they were inside the ship, they still had their cognition. Their bodies were still here. You see what I'm saying? Even though they died because they was inside of metal, strangely, their bodies got kind of meshed into the metal, right? But that taught us something, but it was at the cost of lives of our U.S. armed forces. Now, this is where it's getting real freaky with me. We can't be experimenting like that. No, there's a better way. But again, the government always seeks to control everything. So therefore, everything they do have to be in the dark. And then when they finally do get to the light, there is no light to be gotten to. Because what are we going to do? What are you trying to do? Beam somebody up on a ship? We don't have no ships to beam up to. What are you doing? You want to make things disappear and reappear for what? What are you trying to do?
They haven't. They maybe do have some ships that are available to beam up on, but it's probably not accessible. We probably don't have any knowledge of it, basically. You know what I mean? Well, accessibility to it.
Well, true, we probably don't. But my thing is, if you're going to be testing on your own people, it's not like they say, you know what, let's test on some rats. Let's see if these rats will disappear and reappear. They didn't do that. They wanted to test on live human beings. It's like, what are we doing? This is where my faith in the government gets like disheartened, because I feel, I'm not saying the government doesn't have a right to experiment on phenomena like that, right? Like we learned something about the natural world as far as time travel, as far as teleportation, right? I think the government should be trying to figure things like that out. But what are y'all doing? Killing people. What? There's easier ways to do this. Like, I'm just saying.
But I told you that they have to give the lives that we have on this panel. You know, if they have to delete the three of us in order to gain information or preserve information, they would do that in a heartbeat. There's nothing for them to do that, and they have shown us that through time.
The question is, why do they do that when that's not even necessary for them to still have the same outcome?
No, it is necessary because they need to know that, because our makeup and our DNA, you know what I mean, is not the same as the animals. They know that. So they need to make sure that it actually works on a human being.
But did they even try on the animal?
I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, of course.
Because keep in mind, this is a whole, what is it, USS ship.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no person sitting in a chair with a piece of paper in their hand. This is a whole ship with at least 30 people on board.
You talking about the Philadelphia Project?
Yeah.
That's experiment. This translation says there are stargates all over that guarding all of them to protect one country from invading each other. Okay.
Man, listen. I don't understand. Like, listen. What do you mean invading one another? Like, why do? Okay, every time we talk about intelligence, right? The U.S. government is always tied to a conversation of invading another country. It's like, is the government responsible for doing anything other than creating war over things we really don't need to create war over? Like, we have trade, we have all sorts of systems to ensure that goods are going back and forth and everybody's getting paid.
What is the government's main objective?
Well, if he would like to explain himself, I'm sorry, Smitty. 1 second. If he would like to explain himself, what's translation? The link is in the chat. You can explain what you mean by your statement. Ms. Oshun would like to know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Smitty, go ahead.
Well, first part, what's the government's main objective? And I'm pretty sure we all know it's not for the benefit of the people. It's some form of fashion profit, right? Or it's a known fact to be extremely profitable. Right?
Yeah.
So that's that one part. Two, you're talking about the experimenting on humans. It's a level much deeper than that. So they're doing right now, when you're talking about experimenting on humans and feeling bad about that, well, they put out a desensitization mass level. So they do it in our music. You know, young dudes don't have no problem always talking about death, demon time, smoking on dead people. If you notice, there's been an absolute tremendous, huge spike. Spike in zombie games. They have really gone everywhere you go. I mean, from zombie shows to zombie video games. Why is that? Because it is part of the desensitization to get your mind to not look at people as people.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you go around shooting up, just, you know, they walk like us and stuff, but it's just, you know, dead and stuff. All things are a part of them desensitizing us to looking at human life as human life.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they come out with movies like The Purge and things of that nature. You got a night, you just go around, nobody's a person for real, just slaughter them. So it's a lot deeper than just that piece, because all I'm saying is it starts there with that part that they implicate with, they want to get our minds to not even look at ourselves as human. Then from there, it's a lot easier to have us walk in a cattle-like form, and it's a lot easier that when they do these things and they're kind of caught, a lot of people probably won't make that big a deal. I mean, because we've been seeing all kinds of stuff like, you know, parents offing their children out of nowhere and everything. I think a lot of this stuff comes from the fact that there are frequencies and sounds that are put out there, and it triggers certain people because these people were placed somewhere once upon a time for it to be triggered. I do believe like there are a group of people, like how you were saying, that were snatched up and they were taken somewhere and then they were programmed. Like I'm telling you, like all these like out of nowhere shootings, and in my personal opinion, these like mass shootings out of nowhere, I believe that these are folks that somehow or another, it's a transmission, it's a signal, and they have it set for a specific day, specific location, and these people like a robot, it's almost like a hypnotic state, and they go off and they do what they do. They've been doing all of these things ever since the church has had the organ. That's why it's called the organ, because the frequencies that are played in the organ can either heal the body or give the body physical disease. They know that sounds and frequencies and waves is very, very much so something that you can tap into a person's mind. You can control a mind. You can control a person's mind through sound. And that's a very rare thing. Yes, you can. You can do it with animals. You can do it with people. And I just believe that that's a lot of what's going on with how it's a lot of like unexplainable shit that's just out of nowhere popping up. Things that really wasn't the case. I mean, we might have had a story of it here and there, but out of nowhere, stuff is just coming out of nowhere, bro. And I know it's a lot that, you know, it's that underground shit. It is. It's that underground shit.
I think I know that to be true. That something happened out here in Maryland a few years ago that I'm still quasi studying, but it happened and it came from underneath the ground, and nobody knows what that sound was or what that was in general. And it came from underneath of the ground. People say they could feel it was like a blast that. Nothing was there, but it was a blast that happened out here, but it was nothing that had it was weird. But yeah, there's things going on that if we pay close attention to, it's like, yeah, it ain't we in some stuff right now. But
there's a sonic sound. I don't know, some kind of, you know, how waves, whales, they do ultrasonic sounds in the water. There was a thump that our radars had picked up that they said there's nothing in the ocean that size that could produce that sound. They're like just Google bloop, I guess. Just BLOOP, bloop, and it talks about this sound that's coming from the ocean. They assume it's some big sea monster, but because they're like, there's nothing, nothing that we've discovered in the ocean is large enough to make a sound that gave that amount of impact, and I guess to their machinery. Yeah, so that's why.
I agree, and generally speaking, I don't think that the government or governments are all powerful, right? But I do think that to some degree they're trying to maintain power through secrecy, which is a way to maintain power. Now, to Lost in Translation's comment here about war as a vehicle of mass transfer of wealth, I think at some point in history that was very true. But now that we're going into the technological age, that is becoming something of the past, meaning this. You can invade another country, right? But that other country can't be on the same level as you technologically. Because if they are, you are running more than a risk at losing whatever wealth you had established prior to that war, even if you win. So, I think that, there could be some level of technology that we're being held away from because it would be too dangerous for mankind to have in their possession without using it for war. But let's be clear, like, what is this obsession with fighting everybody that the U.S. government has? Like, now maybe aside from this spooky stuff, maybe we need to investigate that. What is the obsession? Is it really the government, or is it people's personal issues that got to do with things going back and forth? Like, what's really good? Because it seems like we have a habit of going to war no matter what happens. Like, reason, no reason, we just love that shit. And it's like, at what point are we going to realize that we're running out of people to go to war with, even if we're going to continue? It's like, I know I'm the only person wondering about that.
Yeah, like that movie, I think it was War Dogs or something, came out. Boy from, I think, American Pie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that was based on two real folks. Even down to like that we traded the basketball player for, that warlord dude from Russia.
Yeah, from Russia.
Huh?
Yeah.
Why you think they asked for him? Because he is a key vehicle for the wealth that war produces. That man, and you know what? He went right back home. He went right to work. He's probably back in the same night. He went right back to business as usual. He's doing exactly what he's been doing. And we got back a NBA player. Hey, I mean, whatever.
He said, "Well, like, listen, I'm just disappointed all the way around. Like, this is not what I signed up for. I thought I signed up to be a citizen of a country that has some common sense, but clearly, we're working on that. But I like this conversation, and like I said, my whole purpose was to just make sure that as a community, right, we stay abreast with what's happening too. It ain't just a certain community that talks about that and keeps up with that. No, it's like everybody need to be aware of all the bullshit, all the real shit. We need to be aware of it. Now, when stuff get to ringing off, we also need to be aware of that too. Because truth be told, like I said, a lot of us go missing, and some of us are reporting that there's times when we go missing and there's that extra thing that's present. Like, people are saying, like, people going missing in ways that no human could have abducted them. Like, there's those reports too. So it's like, what's really happening? And we already know that certain people are not taken serious when they go missing, unlike others. So we got a long way to go, but somebody has to keep this information relevant